I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
To go, 'cause I am happy on this island, wanna traveling the mountains just to find the loudest tears.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the main action and welcome back to the session 2 in between the showdown of the two world champions, the one from 2025 and the one from 2005 exactly. Shaun Murphy right now leads Zhao Xington by 5 frames to 3 and it does look very nicely for the magician after he was down 3 frames to 0, manages now to put himself right back in the mix and he should be an absolute cracker of a session. I do think this one, listen, it would be a little bit boring there if we haven't seen any change from Xington because we have seen that in the first part of the season. You know, he is going to be capable of just going on a run, which never quite stops. And then, you know, it's going to be unstoppable for Shaun's point of view. I do feel like we'll see the Xington of the second half of the season where, you know, he may have 2 or 3, or as we've seen 5 frames right now, where he's going to be completely off his game. But he usually and always in the second part of the season, if you talk about it, always seems to come back a lot stronger in the afternoon and the evening session, depending on the format. Right now, it is the evening session. It is Shaun Murphy that leads in 5 frames to 3. You feel like this one is going to be a close matchup in the evening session out there because for me personally, it'll probably come down to a couple of things here. Is Zhao Xington going to step up his game? And also, Shaun Murphy, he's got the same thing to worry about. He's been playing, well, average to say the least. The fact that he's managed to win 5 frames is a great respect to him. But listen, I feel like he'll tell you he was playing nowhere near his best so far in the first session. But despite that being the case, still finds himself being 5-3 clear. And Zhao Xington has got it all to try and do here. For now, Murphy probably will be pretty happy with it, just trying to keep the 2-frame gap as it is. And leave it down to the evening session for Zhao Xington to try, for the tomorrow session to try and overturn at the session number 3. For now, as you can see, plenty of high value breaks and majority of those for Zhao Xington, of course, have come in the opening 3 frames. The breaks of 57 and 122 have all come in the first 2 frames before, of course, the breaks of 35, 56, as he managed to sort of score later on in the match. Didn't really manage to win any more frames. Different formats. A couple of them were dominated by Shaun Murphy. A couple of them, there was a chance for Zhao to try and steal it right at the end, but it does seem like, by the way, we are going to be playing alongside Mark Williams. Mark Williams. Mark Williams is out. Mark Cullen and Barry Hawkins, as well as, of course, looking at the first and the main table of Shaun Murphy against Zhao Xington. Murphy can win this tournament. He's got hungry enough, and with Selby, Ronnie, and Trump and Willow already out, could be a good bet. Honestly, not for me. I understand what you're saying, John. I feel like it's a little bit of an overreaction. I feel like he's had an ordinary championship to best for now. And the thing about Murphy that I didn't like him saying, his interviews, has always been all about, the thing is, I've been brilliant this season, but there always seems to be someone that is better than me. And I disagree with that. I feel like he's been consistent. I feel like he's been good this season, but he hasn't been at the level, even of Judd Trump. If you talk about how many trophies has Judd Trump managed to win in comparison to Murphy, it's 1 each. But if you talk about the number of finals that Trump has managed to achieve this season, then I actually really like Trump in the way that he's trying to come across as a person that makes sure, you know, he is the world number 1, but he's sort of saying, well, I lost because I was the worst player, and I really like that against Hussein as well. I feel like with Murphy, to me, he still is the underdog, although, of course, if he wins the 9th frame, he probably is going to have to change. Once again, strange match. It's the incredible comeback World Championship one. Yeah, it's a tough one to call because it is going to depend massively on the opening couple of frames. To me, it's still Xington's match to lose, I'll be honest with you. Even if he goes into the... Listen, the thing is, for Zhao Xington to have a chance, he needs to have 9-7 as worst case scenario. 10-6 is difficult. Probably not coming back from 10-6 down. 9-7, I'd still say is the favourite, but that would leave us with the same session, basically, as we've seen in the first one as well. It's difficult for Xington to try and achieve that, so he needs to make sure he tries to get himself a draw. Ideally, of course, he wants to try and win this session 6-2, and I'll tell you what, if Murphy keeps things as it was, and Xington plays better, I see no problem with saying that Xington can easily win this session by 6 frames to 2. But for now, he still finds himself in the position to try and dig really deep and just make sure that he will come down to whoever takes their chances better. For now, it is going to be the announcement of Mark Cullen and Barry Hawkins to try and make their way towards the main table. This is going to be very interesting to be watching, and exactly 10-6 would be a strong position. Yeah, the thing about Murphy is that if you give him 10-6, the thing about Murphy that he lost the quarterfinal to Trump last season, 13 frames to 10. It was a really good match. That was a quality match. Murphy had his chances. He didn't quite manage to take them, and Trump was clinical at the end. It felt like this could be the exact same story for me, and this is what I would say. For me, this match is going to end 13 frames to 10. I was going to say 13-8, 13-9. Now that Murphy won 5 out of the first 8 frames, it probably will come down to, those type of performances to be seen. For now, it is Murphy that is about to be welcomed to the arena as well. This is going to be very interesting to be seen, by the way, because the response from Murphy also has to be there. You can't just say that, well, Zhao Xington needs to focus on this. For Murphy, he needs to try and have 9-7 before the third session. If it's 8-all, I'd say he's in trouble once again. But for now, he certainly will have a smile on his face. He'll have a couple of handshakes as well before he makes his way towards the arena. And he's a great entertainment for the sport. And the snooker world is better with him, that's for sure. He can have his moments with Matchroom in the Champion of Champions, but he's certainly going to have the brilliance of his own at the British Open and ultimately at a couple of other tournaments as well. And now then to the man that has been underperforming massively since that third frame, Zhao Xington, looking to try and make his way towards the main table. Right now, it still seems like it is going to be his match to lose. But for now, as you can see, match odds technically are going to be 10-11 in Murphy's favour and then 11-10 for Zhao Xington. So it's going to be interesting to see. But as I say, for me, this is still very much Zhao Xington's match to lose. Although, if he loses the first frame, I might have to switch shoes very quickly because that will make the life for Xington very, very difficult indeed. The guy in the yellow colour is not here, which is a shame, because that usually is going to be a great sign for the snooker to be played. And the best sort of circumstances, there will be a handshake in between Sean Murphy and Zhao Xington. And now it is Zhao Xington to try and break off here. So prediction, as I said Murphy needs 9-7. I say Xington probably needs 9-7 as well, because for different circumstances. But, if Xington has got a 7-9, oh, that was close to the blue. But if he's got 7-9 to overturn, I feel like he's capable of doing that. If he puts himself in a position where it's 10-6, I say forget about it. Murphy's not going to lose, sort of, not too cold, 7 out of the remaining 9 frames. Yeah, it's not going to happen. 10-6 is way too much of a scoreline for you to overcome. But for now, it is Sean Murphy that is about to have his first shot of the match. Trying to take the red into the right corner. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity to roll that one in. Oh, I tell you what, he's certainly trying to use as much of that pocket as he could. But at the same time, he will be down to Zhao Xington to have an early advantage here. And potentially testing his opportunity to try and go for those reds here. Although he's played, well, how much snooker has he played since that Tour Championship? Apart from, of course, the first couple of rounds that we've seen. For now, just going to have to take the red into the right corner carefully well. Make sure he's going to be on a single point here. Try to take the black away into the left corner. And then make sure he's going to have a huge overrun for the reds to be taken into the right corner. Playing this shot with a little bit of power and make sure, has he got into the reds a little bit too much? That's straight away. That's probably not a good sign there to be seeing from Zhao Xington and his camp. Because as much as it was a decent effort there, I don't really understand why he was trying to put backspin on it. Because you have to try and roll that cue ball with all the power that you can generate. But you had to just leave it there to make sure that he had a red available to the right corner. For now, it's just going to be down to 8 points here to be scored. And once again, back to Sean Murphy should be. Unforced errors, 5 out. 5 for Zhao Xington and 7 for Sean Murphy. I'll tell you what, that stat is absolutely wrong to me, purely for the eye test. I can't believe you could say Murphy had more mistakes than Xington because of how dreadful the performances have been, especially from Zhao's point of view. I mean, you can think about that green that Murphy's missed. You can think about the pain that Xington missed in 2 different frames, one along the side cushion in the 8th frame, one into the right corner as a frame ball, you know, that he had to battle. Pretty sure it was the frame number 7 that he had to battle with Sean Murphy for later on. Didn't manage to get that one in, and now finds himself in a position still pretty comfortable in relation to, you know, trying to overcome the scoreline. But it's going to have to try and take this on a session-by-session basis. For now, his target must be 9-7 to be the worst case scenario, 8-all probably the best case scenario, because, you know, once again, if those type of mistakes are going to come in, it's going to be very difficult to try and get the score draw of 8 frames each. Not even talking about the potential chance of trying to win 6 out of those 8 frames. And, well, this is going to be interesting. Is he trying to go for the red into the left middle straight away? No, it was just, it was a really close, I mean, that's a horrible shot that he's played. I mean, I did say, unfortunately, with Zhao Xington, the problem is for me, when he doesn't play well, it seems to drag on very much for a while. But this time, I mean, surely that wasn't planned for. I mean, he got that red to be over the right middle, but he's got the cover on the brown. I mean, that would have been such a gutsy shot for you to be playing. So, as I say, for now, my prediction is going to be Zhao Xington, but keep an eye on this one, because if he's going to be making the same mistake in the second session, which I'm not surprised if he is going to be, I feel like the World Championship is going to be a little bit of a different thing for him. But I was actually, you know, when I was watching the studio, I was really surprised to be seeing that, you know, they think Zhao Xington of last season was playing better than he is this season. I'm saying completely nonsense. You can't say that about a guy that came from nowhere on an amateur tour, didn't have to compete for, you know, a single ranking event at that stage, apart from, you know, missing out on the UK Championship right at the starting point of it. I mean, you can't criticize him for being by far probably the best player of, I don't know, 3 or 4 years when it comes to the second part of the season so far. 3 tournaments that he's won, managed to be in the semi-final of the, what's it called? The quarterfinal of the Masters, the semi-final of the, I can't remember, no, I'm probably thinking about Trump, you know. Yeah, but how many tournaments have we had in the second part of the season? German Masters, the actual Triple Crown Masters, World Grand Prix won by Xington, Players Championship won by Xington, Welsh Open, World Open, alright, he didn't perform there, but still managed to come back really well at the Tour Championship. And look at that, after a little bit of a sloppy mistake from Sean Murphy, it is going to be Zhao Xington to try and announce himself back to the world. And these are the exact shots that tell me he's going to be up for it. But of course, it's not really the first shot that you play, it's the last shot that you play to try and end the frame here as well. For now, he's got 12 points of a lead, and it does look pretty nicely for him, because I tell you what, he hasn't been finding those reds at all into the right corner, and now he will come down to a decent opportunity to try and overturn this advantage from Murphy, to try and get himself closer towards potentially being very much trying to catch up with Sean Murphy when the time comes. But now, about to go for the brown here, into the yellow pocket, make sure that the cue ball is going to be played through the brown shot, make sure that he leaves himself nicely on the red, and then probably would expect a transition. Maybe using the blue one more time is going to be entirely up to him, or he can try and skip that route and go directly towards the black ball spot, as he now carefully plays that cue ball to be on the right side cushion, gives that cue ball a little bit of breathing space to try and reach closer towards the black, and try and take that one away into the left corner of the table. So once again, a little bit of topspin here to be played, probably trying to get around the black and put himself to be on the red towards the right middle. This is going to be the aim for him, and this could be actually the tactical point of view from, you know, why he's actually tried to keep that blue where it is, because it's a lot easier for you to try and play a red like that, make sure you're going to be on the blue, and then it will come down to transition on the cue ball to try and take it down to the black or the blue. But once again, as he was the last time around, he just decided to try and skip it and try and carefully play for the black. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity to try and take the black away. Get himself through to 33 points of a lead. A little bit weird of an entry point that he gave himself for a red to be taken into the left corner, the left middle. I mean, I'm not sure if he's lined up on the one into the left corner. That should be really close, because if he's not, he's going to have to try and take a difficult red away into the left corner. And Xington is tailored for long races. He's not done yet on this one. Agree? But ultimately, when you're down for long races, eventually you will just see yourself to be having a misfiring engine because of how tired you're going to be. For now, the red, he's going to stay out, you know. He will stay out. I thought he was going to make that one in. Unfortunately for himself, that wasn't the case. And still, not quite able to get those frames to be won in a single visit to the table. As now the break of 25 points seems to end it for now. And what's it going to be down to Shaun Murphy here? You probably can't see the same red to be taken into the left middle, but what he can certainly see is the red to be taken into the right part of the table. Try and take that one away with a little bit of power and make sure he is going to be lined up for the bold colours here once again. So, yeah, could it be a bit of a similar case scenario to what we've seen in the first session at all? Because, you know, Murphy coming back to the table, looking on like he's about to try and conquer the world here. Certainly looking to try and go for the green here, but, you know, same old stuff there from Xington. Because it's a break of 33 points, it doesn't really put him in a position of any sort of control here. You know, yes, he could say that it's not quite as bad as missing the first raid and leaving yourself, you know, to be sat in your seat until the end of the frame. But ultimately, it doesn't really change anything for Murphy because he's got such a great, you know, such a great lead ahead of himself. He's got 5-3 of a cushion. Now he's going to have to try and work with 3 or more raids that he's got available to him before, of course, trying to split the position and make it a little bit more comfortable for himself as he now tries to take the black away. Needs that cube to keep on running and would have ideally loved to be a little bit further up on the red to be lined up into the corner. For now, it does seem like he was going to have to try and take that red away into the left-hand side of the table. So play this one with a little bit of topspin as well. Wow, how did he miss that one? I mean, that is absolutely beyond me. Now, is he going to leave anything for Zhao Xington? Tell you what, that's not beyond of any realms of possibility that he hasn't actually left anything away to Zhao Xington here. But this is exactly what we've seen in the first session, unfortunately, from Murphy. Like, the standard just hasn't been there for him as well. Zhao not playing up to his game, Shaun should win. Yeah, but the problem is, Shaun is not playing up to his game anyway. You know, just because he managed to get really fortunate here, and he's not going to be lined up for a shot to be taken into the middle pocket, then, you know, he will come down to a shot here for Zhao Xington to play. But ultimately, right now, at least he's got a point advantage. He's got some sort of safety now in mind, as he's got a red over the right side cushion, and now takes that red away. He's going to have the position on the blue. And once again, as I say, he is capable of coming back from 5-3 down if we're not going to see a change in direction from Murphy, but we are going to see a change of direction from Zhao Xington. And for now, you know, yes, it's a small step, but hopefully for him, it will be a small step to, you know, a huge walk out there. And then eventually, you can try and keep on running, because I tell you what, this session, if Xington gets himself through the pace very quickly, the session could turn into a massacre there, you know. Just because Murphy has got 5-3 lead, he's not leading by 10 frames to 4, is he? And, you know, one thing about Xington you have to say, it will be very difficult to try and keep that cue out of the right middle. That was certainly close. But once again, those fine margins, the cue staying at the table and now still being lined up for the blue. Just make sure you get through this opening frame and just make sure you're going to have a chance to try and keep a little bit of pressure on Shaun Murphy, as that you overplayed for this red again. So it doesn't seem like it's Zhao played badly. Hope Shaun should take his advantage. Well, we'll see, because for now, it's 33 points of a lead for Zhao Xington, about to take another red into the right corner. And now it's going to be very interesting to be watching Zhao Xington here and his body language. Because the thing about taking this red away, I'm a little bit surprised he's not playing for the other one, with him being so keen on the position all the time. Because now, he's going to have to try and hammer that red home. He's still going to be on the black. I tell you what, might have to take the pink here into the middle. And he's going to be quite fortunate that he can see the pink. Once again, that red was a good shot there, especially as he manages to free up the black for himself. Experienced players win scrappy matches, yeah, but the thing is, you know, Murphy's not really the player that would always come across as experience, but he's got a lot more than that than Xington. But I genuinely feel like it's not really going to be relevant until the third session at least. I feel like Xington needs to try and find his game. If he doesn't find his game, he can be experienced as he wants, but he just doesn't have plan B. He doesn't have plan B, and if he's going to be, you know, losing out on this one, he'll just have to pack it up and go home. Crucible Curse or not, if he can't find his game, he's got no plan B, and Murphy just needs to play decent snooker, and then he'll be able to put him away, no problem at all. And even if Zhao is younger, we cannot say he's not experienced. The thing about Zhao Xingtong, as I say, experience or not, it probably doesn't matter for me until the third session. Experience for me in here is going to be down to trying to get over the line. You know, maybe have a scrappy frame, but Xingtong can't do it more than once. I mean, you probably can do it once, twice per whole match. And he already used that wildcard once after, you know, that break from Sean Murphy of 60 points in the second frame. And he's managed to dig really deep out there. But, you know, for me, it's down to two things. Either Xingtong finds his game or he doesn't. Simple as that. And if Xingtong finds his game, Murphy needs to make sure he responds. Because for now, he's got a 2-frame lead. He's about to be 1 though. And Zhao Xingtong gets himself lined up for a frame ball. And he will be. Once again, those shots are flying in nicely. And it will be Zhao Xingtong to take this, well, first frame of the session, ultimately. But you can see this is where he's gone wrong for Murphy. And I still can't believe that he missed that raid. And this is exactly why I'm saying he needs to try and step up his game. Because, you know, Xingtong can do things that no other player can, which is still very much in the tournament. You could say the same about Trump. You could say the same about Ronnie. You probably could say the same about Selby, to be fair, with all three of those players to be eliminated. Yes, on different scale, but Selby can make you feel like you're really bad at snooker, and he can sort of drag you into his own world where, you know, he's the king out there. Trump, if he finds himself a momentum, his game is so complete when he's on, you know, sort of fire, it's going to be impossible to stop him. And then Ronnie O'Sullivan, I mean, he needs no introduction. He's very much Mr. Blow Your Way to Pieces, and you haven't even realised what happened there. And Xingtong takes a double, or nearly makes that one into the right middle, and in the end, it's still going to be a break of 47 points to try and get himself through the first frame of a struggle. It is now going to be Zhao Xingtong that takes the first frame away. Sean Murphy 5, Zhao Xingtong 4, and it's now going to be down. Well, very much over to you, Sean Murphy. You can't afford to be losing the 10 frame now, because exactly what I thought has actually happened. Even though Xingtong wasn't able to take it with the first frame, with a single frame visit, it was never going to happen though, realistically, because he still has got that struggle in the back of his mind. But that frame will help him settle massively well. And now it's over to you, Sean, as I say, because that raid that he missed into the corner, he needs to try and redeem himself for that. Otherwise, he could easily find himself to be sort of dropping down the table, dropping down the rankings, and realising that, you know, all of a sudden, it's now him that needs to respond. And it is Zhao Xingtong that is playing all the beautiful snooker and very much trying to be the player that he's so famous for being out there as well. But now, as I say, it's still very much in Murphy's hands, but at the same time, it is now in Zhao Xingtong's hands as well. The graphics showing frames 1 are too small. There's a lot of space to make it bigger. Please help. Not really. I mean, not really, no. Not really, because that's not the main point, because you should have points to be very much capable of. And yeah, as I say, don't really understand that. And if you want to make that box a whole lot bigger, then it just looks unnecessary big, I would say. You know, when you've got that coverage on BBC, they don't really make that frames 1 of 5 or 4 to be a lot bigger out there. But listen, we could do a poll on that. May as well. You know, make it boring. Zhao Xingtong is leading the poll by 70%. So, I mean, could put it down to the audience. Should frames 1 box be bigger? Yes or no? Let me know. This is going to be interesting. I do actually feel like there is always going to be down to a yes button to be pressed a little bit more frequently. But as I say, for now, it will come down to a very interesting poll out there. So for now, yes, yeah. Well, let's give it a bit of a minute and then we'll check out to see how that one is heading. But for me, it's just a bit of a thing that doesn't really need changing. And in the meanwhile, we've got a break-off shot there from Murphy, which hasn't seemed to have gone to plan. So straight away, talk about frames 1 or box or not. It is going to be a chance now for Zhao Xingtong, and this is such a dangerous thing for Murphy. He can't afford to be leaving anything available now for Zhao Xingtong for the next couple of frames, because it'll certainly put him down to trying to take the red into the right corner and put that cue ball to be taken past the blue. And Well, is he going to be down to this red to be taken into the corner? Brilliant shot there by Xington. Now is he going to be on the collar? Of course he will be on the collar. Once again, Murphy just seems like he's not helping his case. And look at that for a brush as well. Really nicely taken there with the red. But how well he's managed to cue that one away. And now positioning nicely for the blue. About to be taken into the right middle. Play the shot with a little bit of power and make sure that cue ball is going to be running towards the right side, although doesn't want it to be too close to the pink. He will be too close to the pink. Or is he going to be able to get through to that red? Seems like the answer is going to be negative. Just about too much there that the cue ball has gone and a little bit too far. So it does seem like it will be down to a red to be taken into the left-hand side of the table here. I feel like if that red is taken though, where's he going to be able to find the next colour from? So, probably just trying to take a step backwards here, make sure that he's going to have a chance of taking the red away into the left corner of the table. Make sure that he's going to have a decent opportunity to try and play that red away into the left corner as well. I mean, it's going to be down to a player here because you can make a judgment of trying to go, well, he's going for an attacking shot here, so you can forget about the judgment call. Once again, is he going to be able to get the red in? Has he got enough power right now? Wow, he got 3 reds to be taken into 2 pockets out there. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like it, I'll be honest with you, on the snooker table. 3 reds with a single shot. Wow, that was illegal, but that was brilliant. I mean, that's something that certainly has to go on the highlight reel. Zhao Xington, I mean, take a bow. I said, I didn't know if you could get one of those reds in, and you only got 3 of them into the pocket. Brilliant there from Zhao Xington. And now, 3 reds exactly. It's extraordinary there what he's doing. And now finds himself in a position of trying to take it even further away from Shaun Murphy, potentially leave himself up with a chance of trying to make things right there, big time for himself. But as I say, it will probably come down to a bit of a different case here for Zhao Xington, because if he's going to try and go for the blue for a couple of those shots, he still needs to try and get through to the black, and he seems to be supporting one side. Not really, to be honest with you. As I say, the only side that I support is Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he's already out. I do want Xington to do well, but I've got great sympathy for Murphy, and honestly speaking, if he doesn't play well, absolutely have no problem with him going out of the tournament. If Murphy plays well, I'll be very delighted to see him in the semi-finals because I know what he's capable of, and I just hope that, may the best player win. Simple as that. And it will be down to just carefully try and take the pink into the left middle. Make sure that he's going to be queuing free nicely here. And yeah, once again, this will test his IQ to a decent extent here because he needs to try and take those 4 reds that are going to be slightly higher than the pink to be taken into the left corner, and then he can sort of try and move on towards, a couple of other reds to be taken as well. But for now, he's got a decent chance to be taking the blue in towards the left middle, and Shaun Murphy, he's about to be looking at a potential 2-frame gap to be slipping away from him. And as I said, if Zhao Xington is able to get his momentum going quickly, it'll be a very nasty wait for Shaun Murphy until himself he's going to be able to get somewhere near trying to get a confident frame win on the board. And Zhao there trying to exploit the pockets there into the left corner as he takes that pink nicely, still positioning himself for the red to be taken. One thing I would say about this particular position though, Xington needs to make sure that he doesn't leave a chance away to Murphy. He's done that quite well in the previous frame, because even though he wasn't, the perfect break of 47 points, but there wasn't really a contention for Murphy to come back to the table at that stage. What he needs to try and do is that he takes it one step further and makes it a frame to nil of a scoreline. Then, I say, he's going to be a huge favourite for this session to go really far. But to be fair, it could be just down to the same thing to happen as we've seen in the first session, because still, for me, it's very weird to get the explanation for it, because I understand sometimes it will happen after the intermission, but I never understand what's I understand it to a decent point on an amateur level, but I don't understand how can you be a professional playing so well in the first 3 frames and then you completely disappear for 5 more frames without there being, there wasn't a massive miss from Xington that seemed like I would have said, my grandmother could have spotted that, something like that. There wasn't any stage it was just like a decent frame from Murphy in the fourth one, a good frame from Murphy in the fifth one, but even in the fifth and the fourth, you could see Xington was struggling there and just unable to do anything with it. Zhao Turbo 1, yeah, it is. And, well, it's a little bit too early to be saying that, but previous frame managed to do really well. And Murphy had his own chance, but didn't manage to take it. And Zhao Xington was able to make breaks of 33 and 47. He's coming back, he certainly is. And he's got a charger with him as well. V8 hopefully for himself. Oh, that's a bit of a bad shot that he's played here, but he should be able to recover with loads of left-hand side. Just trying to put that cue ball to be on the left-hand side of the pink. About to be taken into the left middle, or the right middle. It depends on, yeah, probably the right middle is going to be more likely of the outcome. But whatever you do, don't miss a red like that. And that is going to be a huge blow to Zhao Xington potentially. Because I said, you know, he needs to try and get those mistakes out of his plans. And he certainly didn't manage to do that for now. Well, 55 points behind, 67 points available here for Murphy. Is he going to be down to try and go for the black straight away? Or is he going to try and leave that cue ball to be very much at the top of the table? Well, you'll have to come down to one of those things here for sure. But for now, trying to probably go for a topspin shot on the cue ball, making sure that he gets that red in without any complications. And he's trying to play for the pink here. Needs that cue ball to keep on running. Doesn't want to be straight on it. Well, to be fair, I mean, being straight is not going to be the worst thing that could have happened, because he still leaves himself in a position, potentially trying to take that red away into the right corner. But as I say, this is going to be a bit of a different scenario to the previous frame, because it felt like, you know, Xington had his chance, but Murphy was able to take it at that stage. It would be probably, you know, down to Xington to have another chance. But if he manages to allow Murphy to be coming back with great pace right now, it will be a bit of a different story here. For now, he probably just needs to try and treat those three reds as separate entities, trying to go for the one into the right corner to be taking, and make sure that he gets himself through to a chance of trying to clear up the table here, because basically that's what he's going to come down to. For now, getting himself still to try and play for the pink here in towards the left corner. Make sure he's going to be on 14 points, uses the entirety of the pocket, but still leaves himself nicely. And this channel is slower, another channel Technical TV is a faster score. That's a problem, that is, because I switched onto another stream, and if you say this one is bad, I'll have to try and re-establish something. But I know why, because I've gone onto the Eurosport broadcasting version, which is going to be down to the streaming platform for me, and the streaming platform is always going to be down to more, well, 20 seconds on average, I would say. But listen, it's one of them things, and if it gives me more reliability in the coverage, then I'll probably say you take that thing. But now, Murphy, once again, 43 points is the difference, 34 is the difference, sorry, 43 at the table. Well, I feel like he's a little bit too straight for this right, although, no, not really. I mean, to be fair, he would have probably liked to be on the black there before that last red to be taken. For now, just trying to play through the shot on the pink, and he's going to just try and drop that cue ball to be in behind the red before he takes that one away, and make sure that he's still going to be very much a person to catch in this frame number 10. And put it down to Zhao Xington, his inability to be clinical with those chances. Ultimately, he's about to play a very bad joke with him if Murphy's able to roll this pink away, which he has done. And now just a little bit of a rare shot test that he needs to try and give himself a little bit of breathing space towards. Murphy's already 28. He is on this channel as well. I just changed that as well. 27 points is the lead. Now trying to go for the shred away into the left corner and basically try and play the blue into the right middle as well. Now then he needs to try and give himself a little bit of margin away from the shred in case he misses out on this one, and didn't really want to be on the top side of a blue here, because he will come down to having a decent shot here on the green to be taken. Zhao said back for now. And it does seem like he's going to have a little bit of a setback. There is still a black to be taken into the right corner of the table. But in the meanwhile, it does seem like Murphy's going to be looking pretty nicely for this comeback to be completed. Because, he only has got 5 more colours to be taken. And then at that stage, you'll be down to Zhao Xington to have the ability to respond. And once again, that mistake to come from such an easy red that he misses into the front jaw. Seems like it's going to have huge consequences for him though, as Murphy's about to leave himself nicely for the brown here. So the only way that he can go wrong is going to be down to trying to, well, of course not trying to, but making sure that he's not going to overrun for the black out there. And of course that comes away with a shot on the blue to give himself a nice angle on the pink so that he can just drop that cue ball to being behind the black. Zhao 11-5 this session. It won't be possible if Murphy manages to win this frame away. And right now, he's a huge favourite for that to be the case. But we've seen a couple of, late misses on the pink and the black. Let's see if we're going to see another one here. Seems like it's a little bit too far away there in terms of he doesn't want to be too straight on the shot on the pink. Seems like he has got a little bit of the angle to just try and drop the cue ball to be onto the black ball cushion. So then, yeah, it seems like he's given himself all sorts of momentum that he was, well, sort of dreaming about. Now then, Sean Murphy to try and take this black away to make sure he will come down to break off 59 points. And in the end, it is going to be Sean Murphy that takes it away from Zhao. Zhao will be really disappointed with the way that he didn't manage to take that previous frame away from Sean Murphy and now leaves himself in a position, once again, having to try and recover from it and basically putting it down to his inability to be getting over the finish line. Listen, he's still going to have a couple of those opportunities, but you still feel like you say he's going to have a couple of more of those opportunities. How many more can you actually afford to waste? Because if he does, the perfect scenario for me for Xington was try and get up to the pace very quickly. He hasn't managed to do that now because he's still having an odd miss in the first frame and having a bad miss in the second frame as well. But ultimately, it doesn't just stop there. It stops at the point where you have to realize if Xington doesn't take those chances away, someone will have to take them away, and Murphy will be that other person to be doing it. So, yeah, you feel like it's a bit of a different case scenario for now, but he needs to be very careful in relation to those couple of following frames out there to go, starting with 3 reds in a row and losing the frame. That's sad. Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's a good point, Letitia. The fact that he was able to get 3 reds at the same time and still lose out there on frame. But once again, he comes down to that red that he missed into the corner. Nobody asked him to do that. He didn't ask himself to be doing that. But now he finds himself in a position having to try and make things right here once again in this frame number 11. Otherwise, he'll be in even more trouble than he finds himself already with right now. Murphy to win could still be the case. But now it is Sean Murphy that he's having a 6-4 of a lead. And it's now over to you, Zhao. I said it's over to you, Sean Murphy, in the previous frame. And once again, he was able to respond with a really good break at the end. Can he try and get things right there, Kensington? And try and get that cue ball to be separating the reds away from each other perfectly well. To make sure that he still puts himself in a position of some sort of control. As he's now going to be looking to try and put the cue ball safe. So the Murphy's about to just have a very brief look at the situation with those reds, as he's about to take the first one into probably the black ball cushion here, give that cue ball a huge bounce off the left-hand side cushion, and basically try and finish off somewhere behind the black as well. That's exactly what he's done, just wants to be having a little bit more pace on the red. Not too much of it though, because, I mean, like he sort of put that red in a bad zone there, because if that red goes past the blue and he goes into the green pocket, it will come down to a bit of a problem of a situation there for him to find himself with, because, that's pretty much a shot to nothing there, because the only red that he can give away is going to be the one that you're playing for, and ultimately you try and drop the cue ball to be getting a little bit of a cover point from the blue and the ball colours anyway. What are the possibilities of semi-opponents? Crucible Curse is still on. It is for now, but I'd probably say it's a stupid mistake, Curse, which is on for him. And Murphy, as I say, it's only going to get better for Murphy at this stage, unless Zhao manages to pull the trigger right now, and this is the time to do it. Murphy's played a nice little cut into the corner. He didn't manage to get that one in, and now it's over to you, Zhao, as I say, trying to go for this red into the left corner, will allow himself to be playing for a shot on the blue. I mean, I don't know why they're showing the black to win it there for Murphy, because that was an ordinary shot there. And if anything, it's made his work really easy by playing a good pink at the end point. Now then, can he try and take this red away with a long shot? And he hasn't. So is he going to leave anything away to Murphy? And if that red keeps on running, he will. Oh, tell you what, it's really close. The red that he missed just kept on running. And if the cue ball gets past the pink to try and cut this red into the left corner, then it'll be a great chance for Murphy to try and get himself on the score sheet. But the answer seems to be very clearly no. And you're going to have to try and do it with another attempt here. Just trying to get that cue ball away from the main pack of those reds. Try and get it in behind the brown as well. And position that cue ball to be lined up for a shot with, trying to separate those reds away from each other. To make sure that it will come down to red to be taken into the right corner. Play this shot with a little bit too much power, just to make sure that if he overplays for it, he's always going to have a bounce on the ball cushion to try and slow the cue ball down even more. For now, it seems like he's not going to have any problems with the pace. Just carefully dropping that cue ball to be onto the ball cushion, and now leaving himself with the chance to try and go for the red here into the right corner. And it'll be very interesting to see if Murphy actually goes for this red into the corner, because, I mean, as much as we've seen that beforehand, where you just try and play the shot with so much topspin, I feel like the angle probably is going to be slightly against him here, though he's having a second thought about trying to go for the red into the right corner anyway. Now, is he going to have a chance to try and play that cue ball away from the reds? Oh, he's missed that one by a long distance. Now, where is he going to have that cue ball to finish? Going to have that one to finish in a decent spot there. Once again, there could be a chance for Xington to be available, but, after he's not being as confident, I will say, in the previous time of asking, is he going to try and make the same mistake here? Because I feel like he just needs to try and get himself an easier chance, and this is why he's trying to play it safe, and he's actually seems to have played a really nice safety out there. He was close to trying to get a double kiss on the reds next to the right side cushion, but at the end stage, it's still going to be a really nice result. Just watch the replay. A relatively easy red. Corner pockets need extra seconds to aim for. Yeah, but that was a joke. That was a joke of a red that he's missed. I mean, that red shot. That's a joke of a safety that Murphy's played. And he's left a chance away for Zhao Xington out of absolutely nowhere. I'll tell you what, Xington needs to be absolutely all over this one. Because very rarely you see a mistake like that to come from Sean Murphy's point of view. And, he will come down. Listen, if you're going to just try and keep on the scoring, I will have a little bit of temper. If you do it one more time, you'll be gone with no warning. Okay, chance now. This time, make sure Turbos... Yeah, exactly. Like, he needs to try and realise, if he goes for this chance now, and he takes it, he'll be down to, just same thing, just one more frame that he's lost, and he still finds himself in a position where he's going to have a chance to try and take that blue away. And he's going to have a decent opportunity to try and play that cue ball to being behind of the red. And, once again, not sure if that was the right shot for him to be playing with here. Because if he's going to try and go for the red taken into the right corner, then, he's going to have to try and give himself a little bit of a space to work with here. Trying to drop that cue ball for the black. Perfect shot there. Fantastically well that he's played that red in. And now it will come down to the black. About to be taken here into the right corner as well. Let's having a look at this shot into the right corner. Make sure, of course, that he's going to be very much aware of the black to come back onto its own spot and find himself in a position of trying to take this one away with the best case scenario for him. For now, still looking like it will come down to a decent opportunity here, as I said beforehand, for Zhao Xington. But ultimately, it's all down to what you can produce out of those chances. If you're going to have a brilliant position ahead of yourself and you don't manage to take it, that's going to be purely down to you. And it's still down to position himself nicely for the blue here. About to be taken into the right middle. Make sure he plays that shot well on the cue ball's point of view. So he gets that one to be rolling across towards the left part of the table here. So finds himself to be lined up for the red. About to be taken into the right corner as well. So it'll be very interesting to see on just what can Zhao Xington produce out of this red to be taken into the corner, if he's just going to try and take all those loose reds away completely before, not touching any bit of the bunch, trying to make sure he takes those loose reds to a decent point advantage, although, of course, that hasn't really helped him in the previous frame, as he plays another good shot there, although he's going to limit the topspin availability on the cue ball. He's still going to have a decent chance to try and take this red away into the right corner and make sure he gets that cue ball to be running towards the black here. And a little bit of a bounce, and onto the black ball cushion it goes. Wants to have an angle though, doesn't want to be straight on the black. Just because, well, to be fair, he does have a couple of get out of jail cards here for now, to be taking this red into the left middle, but still being slightly lower than the black here, trying to push that cue ball into the ground being the black ball cushion out there. He's not going to be the ideal case scenario, and he needs a straighter red to go past the pink here. Otherwise, it just seems like he's creating a problem for himself out of nowhere. And he's played that shot well, managing to keep himself on the black and also getting himself a chance to try and play the pink as a backup option. So once again, having a good look at this one and realizing the chance that he's about to gain here by taking the black away into the left-hand side of the table. Make sure that cue ball is going to be played through with topspin, trying to get around the cue ball, trying to get around those reds, I should say, and position himself for either one of the lower reds to be taken into the left corner or the one to be taken into the left middle as well. So 44 points is the lead. Now trying to get through a red to be taken into the left middle. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity of trying to play for either blue or the pink here, because once again, I feel like he probably can sort of get away without not trying to split the back at all, as he takes another good red away into the left middle and leaves himself with a decent opportunity here to try and take the blue into the left middle as well. Yeah, but I was about to say he can get away with not trying to split the back at all, but that means he's going to have to be absolutely spot on with his positional play. And for now, it seems like he's going to do anything but there, because, well, this camera angle doesn't actually help too much. He's just suggesting for a plant to be taken into the corner. You know, Zhao is not really going to be a sort of biggest friend of plants after what happened in the previous match for him, where it nearly cost him a very costly frame against Ding Zhuhui after they missed the plant into the right corner. But of course, he's played a couple of cracking ones already so far in this tournament. And yeah, just looking to try and go for this raid into the left corner to be taken. So a little bit of topspin and make sure he gets himself a chance. Well, this is awkward, you know. This is really, really awkward. Has he overcut this red in? No, he hasn't. Just about rolls that red in. Well, I mean, once again, the thing about Zhao Xingtong is going to keep on saying he's got no plan B to his game, and he's just going to go for something that is going to stick to him. And if it fails him, he's going to have to try and do it on horsepower, because he hasn't got any other options to him. Doesn't need a huge bounce here again. He's done the same thing twice. And he's going to be super disappointed here, because it's the same thing that keeps on going on for now 2.5 frames, where he leaves himself those difficult shots, and inevitably there will be one of them that he misses, and he's going to be very disappointed with that. For now, he's able to recover every single time there, and about to still be lined up nicely for the black. He's going to have a decision on trying to go for the pink into the right middle, but I feel like the black especially, if you try and take, well, I mean, I have to say that from the previous angle, it looked a little bit easier than this one. And he takes this one nicely, and he's going to be, well, this is more like Zhao Xingtong, to be fair, which is still going to have to try and take a red and a color combination for him to be able to get over the finish line. You really think he's not planning? What do you mean he's not planning? What do you mean he's not don't really understand what do you mean there, Letitia? Please expand. Because I feel like, yeah, I don't really, well, I mean, it's another bad shot that he's played. Just trying to get himself over the finish line, but he's going to have to try and put the black safe. I mean, that's the easiest shot that he's probably played in the entire frame, and he's going to be super disappointed, just like he was, you know, trying to play for the black in the third frame. He feels like, you know, was so short on the pace, and now about to get himself over the top side of a black here, trying to push that one into the ground. And then he will be down to 67 points of a lead here, and 67 points left. So try and put this black onto the side cushion there. Probably is going to be the easiest thing. Zhao's positioning still have flaws. Higgins-Robertson match feel a bit flat. Yeah, it was. I'll have to say, with all the respect, it was a little bit boring to be watching. I will be brutally honest with you. And I heard he said Zhao is not planning his game. Maybe I wasn't focused on bad here. No, absolutely not. He's planning for it, but what I'm saying is, he just seems like he's not playing those shots well enough. You know, whether it's going to be down to a lack of concentration, no. But what I'm saying is, he needs to realize that he's getting those positional shot wrong. So maybe to be fair, I may have said that, to be fair, because it may come down to it, because, you know, he keeps on making the same mistake over and over again. So that might actually be the point that I was trying to get across, that maybe he's not blunting, you know. Maybe he's just trying to do it purely on the flow. How do you determine amount of points needed to guarantee the frame win? You need to have more points than you have got points left. And Higgins, yeah, but no surprise there, Mike. Well, that's a little bit harsh. And listen, I thought Robertson against Higgins was going to be a very interesting matchup. It felt like it was a little bit slow. It had some great drama, but as I say, I want a little bit of, you know, Murphy against Zington, even though sometimes it may not be a great show, but you still feel like you enjoy what you're seeing. There's great drama, there's great entertainment, and you know you don't have to wait half an hour for the next exciting thing to come on as well. But yeah, for now, I would say it still lacks a little bit of quality from both of the players. I would not probably, I'd struggle to put it down to one of them to be struggling for quality a little bit more. So what happens here, where both are 67-67, well, so if Murphy was to score 67 points, which is very unlikely because he's got a red onto the side cushion, the black to be on the cushion as well, and then it'll be a respot black. And that's what he's going to come down to. For now, Zington, he's still looking to try and put another red save here, more than a minute that he's taken on this shot. So just trying to do the simple thing at the end. And yeah, probably was thinking that he doesn't want to allow Murphy to try and take the easy red, the difficult red away from the side cushion. And try and put another one on towards the side cushion there. But clearly didn't feel like it was worth to be conceding a chance there. So now it'll be down to Murphy to try and play this one away. Doesn't want the cue ball to be anywhere near the clean pocket though. That's going to be a disaster for Murphy. That is an amateur mistake from Shaun Murphy. Whether it feels like that one faded or not, I feel like you should have not put the cue ball anywhere near that green pocket. Let's have a look. Is there going to be any sign of fade? Is there going to be any sign of fade? There is a little bit. There is a little bit, to be fair. I'm not sure if I'm seeing things, but, well, listen, you haven't got that issue now. He's shouting on that he's having 71 points and Shaun Murphy having 67. So if Zhao takes it straight away, which he will, and he's going to be very much the shot that gets him the frame on the board, and ultimately it will come down to 12 frame showdown to see if Murphy, after all that, is still going to be able to try and keep that 2 frame of a cushion over Zhao, or is he going to be back to square one and 6 frames each to try and see on which one of the 2 players will be the best one to try and take it over the finish line. Interesting how Zhao has 150 points more, but he's a frame down. So, yeah, I mean, he's nearly 200 points up there on Murphy, but that comes across to him not being clinical. You know, we've seen the previous frame on the 10th one where he was basically one shot away from a frame ball. You know, so that's always going to come across. But yeah, look at this mistake again from the first shot of this frame pretty much from Murphy. Just such a amateur mistake of getting that cue ball to be so close to the jaws of the pocket and allowing Zhao to have that early scoring chance that in the end putting down to a decent opportunity here to be taking the pink. And 67 points that he scored is still a very nice cushion that is going to be the building block for him. And whether he's going to get the 2-ball stack or not, we're going to have to wait and see for that one in a couple of frames in advance. For now, one thing I can tell you is he's certainly going to fancy his chances to try and take this one slightly further away from Murphy to make sure that he's still going to be the one very much setting the pace to the remainder of the first mini session of the evening session here as well. And remember, the showdown here is guaranteed with Zington winning at least one of those frames. There will be a 3rd session tomorrow in the afternoon, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be midday, where you can tune in on this channel and see the showdown, whether it's going to be Zhao Xington that is through to a 2nd semi-final consecutively in 2 years, or is he going to meet Murphy for the first time since, I'm pretty sure, since 2021, where he reached the final and lost out to Mark Selby. It's going to be the first time where Murphy actually manages to get himself through to the final, because I can't remember what happened in 22. I know he wasn't there in 23, I know he wasn't there in 24, I know he wasn't there in 25 either. So unless Trump was playing against Murphy in the semi-final of 2022, he probably hasn't made it into the semis and to one table format since that lost to Selby by 18 frames to 15, I'm pretty sure it was, at the end, same as Selby's scoreline against Brussels. But one thing I did say about Zington is make sure you try and at least once in those opening 3 frames get a scoreline to nothing, and with nil next to Shaun Murphy's name. Yes, it wasn't really the way that he managed to get to that stage, because it was a really good break of 67 points, but still he manages to put himself in a position where only 1 frame behind, loads more points for him to try and score here, and ultimately coming down to the 12th frame to try and see which one of the players will try and take a little bit more momentum down into the second mini session, because for now, this one certainly has been anything but slow. For the first 3 frames, you know, we started in 25 past, it's now, well, to be fair, it's probably about average. 16 minutes now, and we're about to finish the 3rd frame away as Zhao rolls that black in nicely, and it's a really good sequence of breaks of 58 and 67 that gets Zhao over the finish line here and gets him only 1 frame away from Shaun Murphy. It is Zhao 5, Shaun Murphy 6, and both Murphy and Zhao are scoring well. It will come down to who makes less errors. True, agree, because for now we've seen that in frame number 10. Could have easily been 6-5 in Zhao Xington's favour. He didn't manage to take that frame away from Murphy. And look where he got him here, in a position where you don't really want to be as a snooker player, where you find yourself trying to, you know, get that rhythm back onto your shoulders. Right now, will come down to Shaun Murphy being very much under a little bit more pressure. He hasn't really done anything so far in the first mini session here, but ultimately, he doesn't have too much to do here either, because he's got so much to try and hold on to beforehand. Now he probably will be down to a decent opportunity here to try and, as I say, make things right, get himself through to that lead to be extended even further, and make sure that whenever you lose a frame, you're going to be able to back it up with a frame win as well. And this is exactly what he has done so far today. Can he try and do it again? As I'll tell you what, it's really refreshing to be seeing a Eurosport coverage there for the first time, as Hawkins about to run away with it even further from Mullen. He's able to maintain his 2-frame cushion there. I'll tell you what, one player that I would genuinely love to see in the semi-finals is going to be Barry Hawkins. A Welsh Open campaign really went under the radar, and I feel like it's probably one of the most underrated performances this season. You know, just because he had some great wins over the top seeds earlier in the tournament, it just feels like, you know, doesn't really get the credit that he deserves for that win at the Welsh Open, defeating the likes of Robertson, defeating the likes of Williams on his way towards beating Jack Lisowski into the fight, and then Weezer in the semi-final. I mean, he's certainly not going to be a player from the unknown. Anyway, back to frame 12, and back to Shaun Murphy. Once again, so far, the ball has been changing directions every single time here. Murphy's about to go for something different, trying to place that cue ball to be in between the brown and green, and making sure that he's got that cue ball to be in behind the yellow. It's a brilliant break-off shot, probably one of the best that we've seen, because of how well he's managed to separate those reds away. Yes, one of them has gone towards the black, which probably is going to be a bit of a downside, but at the same time, you have to say, it's a decent opportunity to try and get the black into the corner, as well as trying to make things right for himself. So just trying to go for, well, I mean, an interesting cut here on the red. I mean, that was silly. That was silly there from Zington. Honestly, as soon as I seen him even aim, before he's taking that shot on, before he's even taking it on, you could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to be clever, get that cue ball to be behind the black. But what he needs to realise, those shots have to be super precise, and there was no reason to be playing a shot like that. Last pots on 19 minutes. Such a cheap giveaway there to Murphy, and exactly something that he had to make sure he didn't do. He's the only thing that he's done here at the 12th frame. Now it's over to you, Shaun. We've seen high-scoring chances for Zington to be available. Now can we see one from Shaun Murphy's point of view? Players are given seats next to each other, but haven't seen any talking to each other during breaks. Are they supposed not to have some small talk? Yeah, but you're not supposed to. I mean, imagine, why would you have a small talk with the guy that is very much your opponent? I mean, you're not really there to play in kindergarten, are you? You're there to very much win. So don't exchange it. Make sure your focus is going to be on what your plan is going to be. Don't You can try and do it after the match. You can maybe try and do it before the match, but I wouldn't even recommend doing that before the match, to be fair, because you need to be very much in a position of trying to concentrate on what you have ahead of yourself. Don't try and be like, you have to sort of be very nice to them. Don't be nice to them. Try and make sure you win. That's about as much as you can do. And that's about as much as you should be doing as well, because, don't be... I feel like it's uncomfortable for the players when they're going to be sat next to each other, and I'm against it, but I understand why you have to do it at the Crucible. I don't really know the whole plans for the renovation, but I hope it's going to change, because to me that's super weird, where, you're supposed to have your thoughts to yourself, and I know for myself that, being quite a little bit tall, you want to have a little bit of space, man. Like, you want to make sure you've got room for your legs, for your arms, for a little bit of thinking as well, for a little bit of fresh air. You know what I mean? Like, just make sure there is going to be a little bit of distance in between yourself and the opponent. And once again, it is probably the sacrifice that you can pay for. I've seen a lot of those. Not so much with the crowds, not so much with the players, but, those little things there where you have such a small arena for 2 tables. It's probably perfect for a 1-table format. It's certainly not good enough for, 2 tables format usually. Not sure there's a rule about that, but it's rare to see them. Yeah, as I say, there's not going to be a rule, but it's probably one of those things where, why would you do that? I mean, even if it was allowed, or if there was a penalty for it, it doesn't really change the factor of just not players should be speaking to each other. That would be exactly like Mark. Yeah, I agree with Mark out there. It's what's the purpose of doing that? You're not there for the fun. You're not there for the hobby. You're here to win. It's the biggest tournament of the whole season. If you lose this one, you have to wait a whole season for you to try and take your chances again. And this is where, this is why those deciders are always going to matter so much, especially when they're coming in the main draw. By the way, I should say, I've been keeping an eye on this one for a while, but haven't actually mentioned, which is surprising to me, as Murphy takes a difficult red away to the left corner. I was seeing, I'm not sure if that was per session, there was an announcement. Of course, one of the members of the crowd is going to get a special prize if there is a huge milestone in snooker to be achieved. And what I'm talking about is a 147. For now, he's on his way there, Murphy. 48 points, plays nil in favour of Sean here. Trying to go for the red into the left corner. He's clearly going to try and stick for the black there, although he's playing that shot with a little bit too much speed and a little bit, close there to missing out on that red, leaving it over the pocket. He should still be able to go for this black into the corner, but what can he try and achieve with, sort of the remaining reds here available to him? And he probably needs a little bit of the angle to try and drop that cue ball to be further away from the side cushion. And now 56 points, play 0 once again. So he's still heading for that 147. If he's going to make a decision here, Zhao, simple error again. Couldn't see the double kiss from a slow shot. Yeah, I mean, everyone could see it. And as I say, don't do it. I mean, I thought he was trying to make a thin cut for the split second. And then I realised there wasn't a room for him to do it. But, I mean, there was no reason to be playing a shot like that because you're never going to achieve anything great out of it. And all you're going to do is put yourself under unnecessary pressure. But this is what I mean. The guy just doesn't learn, unfortunately for him. And when he talks about playing the right shot, it's fine that he talks about it, but what he needs to try and do is actually play the right shot. Meanwhile, Murphy just about keeping his chances here to try and stick on the black. 64 points of a lead. Trump lost to a double kiss too. I can't remember. Yeah, I feel like that one was... I wouldn't say it was down to a double kiss. I felt like he had his chance in the decider. And that, the little positional shot that he's played... That's probably where he got away from him because, once again, the way that... unfortunately, that's a bit disappointment there. Murphy's going to play for the pink. That's a shame. That's a real shame, that is. I know he's all about trying to win the frame, but that's a real shame. I thought there was an angle to try and drop the cue ball for the black, but I suppose he can't really be taking a chance with it, and the angle would have been a little bit uncomfortable for him. But at the end stage... You're here to win, as I say, and this is why that mistake from Zhao, it accumulates and it always is going to add up. 71 points is the lead now for Murphy, 75 at the table. Murphy gives referee a little bit of breathing space. By the way, I should give him a shout out. This has been the biggest break of 11.5 frames there for Murphy. Hawkins has a pretty good record at the Crucible, 1 final and 4 semis. Yeah, I mean, that's mad, that is. The fact that I never knew that, by the way. I thought he had 2 semi-finals and a final on top of that. The fact that he's got 4 semis is absolutely mad to me. I mean, did not he have one in the 2018 that he lost to... I can't remember whether he lost to Williams or Higgins. I'm going to guess it was Williams, but it's a pure guess. And meanwhile, Murphy takes it. You could still try and go for a 1-4-6, although just as I say that, he's about to go for a different type of a shot. Don't know what, by the way. Letitia, if you're watching on Eurosport, can you tell me if you're getting the sudden flash on the screen as well? So as if like the table is going to be a little bit darker, then all of a sudden it goes really light again. So it's a little bit weird there. It's not a massive thing, but you know, the last thing that you want to see is, of course, the lights flashing on the other table, which I've seen Murphy to be fuming about in that 17 frame against Fang Jingyi. For now, he's looking to try and make it only the second incredible century break. Can you believe it's been over 20 years since Murphy won the title? I can, because I wasn't even born back then. It was literally around 10 days before that, because it would have been in May. So yeah, it's, as I said, I certainly can believe it because I've never seen it before. I've seen the glimpses of that clearance in the last frame against Matthew Stevens, who Hawkins here for semis. Well, I tell you what, you're going to tell me because I'm watching this match for the time being. And he's about to try. Well, once again, the lights did it again. It's a break of 90 points at the end for Sean Murphy. Help me focus in his 1-4-7. It won't be the case because he's played for the pink ages ago. It will be down to a break of 90 points, which leaves Sean Murphy to be leaving for the interval. Pardon the pun. It is going to be very much down to mistakes from Zhao Xington. We've seen 2 of those, but at the end stage, it will be enough to get him out of that comfort zone. And now you certainly have to start to be asking questions whether Zhao Xington does have what it takes and has he actually found a match for him, because for now it seems like Murphy has got this one pretty much under control as he leaves himself to be with a couple of frames as the advantage for a while now, but ultimately leaving himself in a position to try and take this one further away from Zhao Xington. Whether that will be the case later on in the match, we'll have to wait and see. For now, it's going to be the intermission, and hopefully, and when we come back, there is going to be a little bit more of a fight spirit from Zhao Xington to try and get himself back to 7-all, and then it's going to be a showdown, potentially for 2 of the remaining frames to see which one of the players will take advantage into the third session, or is it going to be a score draw and 8 frames each, as I predicted. 15 minutes time, everyone. Stay tuned in.
Something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees, waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club.
Yeah.
Empty hearts and neon lights, they're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. La 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 la, oh, oh. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks,
Alright then everyone, we are going to be back from the intermission, and the players are certainly going to be back from the intermission very, very shortly indeed. And as Letitia has mentioned in the chat, it is going to be down to Mark Allen 5, Barry Hawkins 7, after Allen manages to win. Very important frame number 12 for him to try and keep him in the contention, but ultimately Barry manages to keep that lead very much like he's done against Mark Williams. And let's see if it is going to be 2 upsets in 1, because I probably feel like Allen was the favourite in that match, and, you know, I prefer Hawkins to win because I feel like he'll make for an exciting, potentially, to be repeating semi-final of the Welsh Open of Weezer against Barry Hawkins. But, of course, this time around, he wouldn't be the first to 6, he will be the first to 17 frames. And for now, it does seem like Murphy has got his sights on another match to first to 17 as well, and it does seem like he's got his ground to be marked, and he's only going to try and approach this one step by step very quickly, but at the same time it seems like he's making a really good progress into this one. It's a very good thing that Sean is leading the pink and the black near the cushions and playing the smaller colours himself. Just like every player has a weakness, this is the weakness of this Chinese player. Zhao appeared to be quite irritated when he did the double kiss, and he needs to get over the earliest errors rather show than done, given that snooker is a mentally absorbing game in pro competition. Must be restarting soon. 15 minutes break. Yes, he will start in like 1 minute or so, as well. There's your answer. Perfect timing. The players are about to make their way towards the standing heroes as well, and this is going to be very interesting to see on the reaction from Zhao or Sean Murphy to see on which one of them will actually try and make it past this this little point where you need to realise it is now or never for Zhao, and it is now for Sean Murphy to try and achieve everything that he's looking forward to try and make sure that he's going to be the one that he's going to be knocking on the door of that semi-final appearance. Number 4 in his career, I'm pretty sure, because he's managed to have 1, 2, 3. How many semi-finals does Sean Murphy have at the Crucible? 4 that I can count. More than that. 5, something like that. He's got, how many has he got? Yeah, so he's got 5 of those. 2005, 2007, 2009, 15 and 21. Okay, I knew about 3 of them. 21, 2015 and 2005, but I thought he had 1 more in the other season as well. Anyway, it doesn't really matter too much. He will come down to Zhao to try and make a break-off shot, but once again, only 52 minutes for the actual playing time on the session. This is going to be interesting to see if the pace is going to stay within the 2 players. For now, it is Sean Murphy to try and take it safe and push one of those reds towards the top end side of the table. Any of the 8 quarterfinalists can clinch the title. Yeah, but if you're being honest, I probably would disagree with you. For me, it will come down to Allen can't do it, in my view. Hawkins, I may put Hawkins towards it. Vafaye, probably not really. So Allen and Vafaye are going to be out. Robertson against Higgins, Higgins can't do it. I mean, with all the respect to Sean, with all the respect to John, he's not going to have just the physical strength to go the limit in the semis, and then the final. It seems like that match with Robertson is going to take him all the way if he's to win that clash, which right now, of course, is losing 5-3. Listen, it's going to be so difficult for you to try and achieve that, and Higgins has got no chance for me at all. Respect the player, don't simply comment, it's only a better win. The supporter rider will win, don't give us sense. Maybe, don't really understand the point, but I feel like nobody was really disrespecting the player. I'm saying who I think hasn't really got a real chance to try and win this thing, but Sean Murphy has got, and he's going to have even more of a chance to try and take this frame away from Zhao if he's able to play shots like that. The previous double that Zhao has attempted was probably the one where it was always going to cause him a little bit of trouble, and now it comes down to the yellow to be taken here in towards the left middle, and it does seem like the brown that is about to disappear towards the right corner as well. I mean, he's gone for that shot, which is a little bit more difficult. I'm a little bit surprised that he's committed to it, and he's missed that brown. Wow, that is a weird short selection there from Sean Murphy. I did not expect to see that mistake, especially so early doors. But at the same time, you know, it felt like it was down to either play a snooker in behind the brown, Yeah, but to be fair, the brown was the right shot. It's just you have to make sure you don't miss it because he was right in behind the brown, which I always feel like, yes, you have to do a little bit of maintenance on the cue ball, but you have to make sure that brown is going to be in. There is no excuse for it at all. And Zhao, meanwhile, just going to try and play the cue ball carefully through towards the black. He's got the brown for company there as well, which you might want to try and get rid of pretty soon, because that's going to be preventing from a couple of those reds to be disappearing into the right table. Into the right part of the table, I should say. Gives a little cannon towards the red, and he's played that shot so well to make sure he judged that contact perfectly well, so that he's now going to be on the red, which goes past the brown. Probably take the brown as a potential backup option. Depends on the way that he's going to be able to be lined up for the black. I mean, no clear favourite. For now, the favourite should be Zhao, given that he's defending champion. Win Robertson is my other picks. Yeah, agree. Completely agree, because I feel like Rafael is going to run out of steam, although I feel like it's 4 frames each. Yeah, inevitably that thing of him being super consistent with those chances there. I feel like, you know, the thing with Hussein that got him so far into the quarters and now a 4-all draw is that he's been so good when he's getting those chances in. I wouldn't say his long shot game has been brilliant. I wouldn't say he's been bad though. So I feel like, you know, it's a bit of a thing waiting to happen there with Hussein. So if he manages to keep it till the end, very much so. But that is, well, unless he's going to be, I feel like that's too close to the red. That's a horror shot from Zhao. I was just trying to reserve the judgment until the end, but that's a horror what he's done there. The brown was so close to the corner, and he just forces that cue ball to be heading so close towards the middle part of the table. Weezer would be a real great surprise, new blood. Yeah, but the thing about Weezer is that we all knew that he was so capable of doing it. We've seen that in Nanjing, where he's managed to defeat everyone from Trump to Hawkins, 6-4, 6-0. Winning 12 frames on the bounce. Then he's managed to have 6 frames on the bounce against Zhao, and then completely dominate Higgins in the fight. What's he doing here, by the way? Wow, that's a plant and a half. I mean, that's brilliant. I couldn't even see what he was playing there until I've seen him check it. That's a Jut Trump plant, that is. That is a Jut Trump plant because of how much difference and distance there was in between those two reds. They were looking nowhere near each other, but at the end stage, the only thing that matters is that the red is in, and he'll come down to the brown now to follow its stage as well, as he sends that cue ball to be heading back down the table. Seems to have played the shot pretty well, and now about to position himself nicely for the red, about to be taken here into the left part of the table. And he'll certainly come down to an interesting situation here, because if he takes this red away, he can try and drop the cue ball for the black with the intention to try and play for one more red that he'll have available into the right corner, or he can try and use that red as a bit of a extra insurance, although something that Zhao has actually been refusing to do so far, as he's now going to get himself lined up for 107 points available. You know, plenty of those reds have been utilised already, 5 of those to be precise. So now just trying to play for the black to be taken into the right corner. Make sure that cue ball is going to come running towards the red, and carefully about to take it into the left middle here as well. So 26 plays 1 here with Zhao, as he's looking to try and take this red away into the left middle. Play that shot with a bit of extra power, and has he overplayed it? He has. He's going to be nowhere near to be on the black, and the last thing that he wants is, I feel like it's the first thing that he will do, is to try and go for this black. Surely you need to try and take a step backwards. You had your try, you didn't manage to succeed. Yes, you're going to be disappointed. Yes, you're going to be hurt. But make sure at least you give yourself a chance to try and recover. Because if he tries to take this black away, he's got no chance of making this one in. And also being on the red. Dark horse from Iran. And, well, not sure his name is Rafael. But Rafael certainly is. And his name is Hussein as well. Higgins' favourite, Alan, very interesting. Nah, if you say that Higgins is the favourite, I feel like you don't really understand the way it works. And you haven't seen him play against Wilson in the final. You haven't seen him play against Weezer in the final. You haven't seen him play against Zhao in the final. He does wear himself out before he reaches that final stage. And he was brilliant in semis against Trump. He was brilliant in the semis against Maguire. He was brilliant in the semis against Trump for the second time in a decider in both of those occasions, at the Players and at the Masters. And, yeah, it just seems like it's always going to come up short, because he's got absolutely nothing left in his tank by the time that he reaches the showdown finale. And listen, you're going to tell me that he's going to avoid that on the 17 days of hell when it comes to pure physical treatment that you need your body to go through the process of recovery. He's had that massive match with O'Sullivan pretty much yesterday. Now he's back playing against Robertson today. At least he's got one session. I mean, if he was playing for 2 sessions, I'd probably say Robertson is going to fancy his chances to try and get that advantage there. And also Allen and Vafay, interesting. I mean, the fact that you're putting them in the same category as Higgins, just it's a little bit weird to me. Allen never won before. Yeah, he never reached the final as far as I'm aware. He reached the semis in 2018, maybe 2023 certainly, when he lost out to Selby, the eventual winner of 2023. So yeah, I mean, Allen is a weird choice for me because he's not playing well. He's not playing well against Hawkins right now. I mean, with the things that I've seen in the first session, it just seems like he's going to be struggling to try and get past Barry Hawkins, let alone try and do it with someone like Weezer or Saint Maffei. I mean, whatever it is going to be, if they play against Allen, they're going to be fancying their chances badly, because if it's going to be Hussein or Weezer, so Allen's got no chance unless he manages to step up his game. And it's a bad shot there from Murphy after a quiet exchange there when nothing was happening around the table. Something certainly has happened where Murphy tried to bring so many reds into the open play. And now he'll come down to Zhao's turn to try and test the screw back on the shot. And as he overplayed for it, as usual today, he has overplayed for it and placed the cue ball about as awkwardly as it was possible. Perfectly on the green if you try to mess yourself up there. But, I mean, so close to the brown. It's going to be very awkward for him to try and bridge over the brown here as well. But in the end stage, he seemed to have cued that one nicely, but almost too nice at the end. With the yellow, the black, the pink to be out of the picture, it's impossible for you to get the angle on the green. So he was down to the brown or blue, and he wasn't able to get on either one of those two. So just a single point that he scores, and leaving a safety there for Sean Murphy to be played as well. Still, by the way, we're down to 91 points. This could be a thing there where the break of 28 and 27 points previously from Zhao is actually going to matter to him because it leaves him that opportunity to try and leave Murphy with a couple of those problems there with the yellow to be at the top end side of the table. Probably at this stage, we're getting very close to where, Murphy will need that yellow, and it's not quite as easy as it may sound or look as... only one, and of course that goes without saying that he's still going to need to try and pot 7 reds, which, 6 of them, or 8 I should say, 6 of which is going to be pretty difficult for you to try and do anything with right now. So Murphy just having one more look to see what's going to be happening around the table. And, can he try and go for the shot into the right corner? I mean, the question is, why does he have to do that? And he's thinking about going for it now, So just try and carefully take this red away. So that's what he's played for. Has he got it? No, he hasn't. Oh, he's got away with that one, though. The red could have easily got a double kiss on the cue ball and sort of stopped over the pocket. In the end, that wasn't the case. I feel like Murphy will take that. And he will be down to Zhao Zington to try and potentially go for a long red, which he's got an opportunity of doing here. Or he can try and produce a cut into the corner. And he's gone for that cut into the corner. He's missed it. Seems like he's managed to put the cue ball into a safe position, though, in relation to that red that he's missed. Not in relation to the other red, though. And Murphy, once again, if the black was there, he probably would fancy his chances to try and win the whole frame now. But with the black being out of position, it'll be difficult to try and get that cue ball to be held for the black here. Well, impossible pretty much with how close you have to be towards the black ball cushion. The pink is going to be no help, so you need to do that with the blue, which makes it loads of backspin. But look at that, beautifully played once again there by Sean, and it seems like this match is starting to slip away from Zington's hands. Zhao still struggling in positioning from relatively easy shots, still can't grasp speed of the tablecloth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're talking about the screw back that he's played, and yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, to be fair, at that stage, but because it's been happening pretty much during those 2 sessions, and he's about to be under real threat of potentially losing out another frame because of that, Murphy's got his chances here very much doubled in comparison to what they were previously, and as he tries to get another red into the corner, he's got a great opportunity to try and make it past all of those reds without needing to go for the yellow, which will be a great boost to his chances, but ultimately it will also come down to a great opportunity to try and make it over the finish line. As I say, for now, he seems to have played the shot pretty well, or has he? I mean, sort of lost the cue ball there a touch to try and take the red into the corner. Still going to be fine for it in relation to, trying to take that red. But, yeah, of course, he needs to make sure that he's going to be playing for the blue or the pink. And once again, it just seems like he's in a little bit of no man's land, because that's going to leave him with a difficult shot now on the pink, because where's the next red going to come from? He does have a chance of trying to take the pink into the corner, but he needs to try and see that cue ball to be heading into the reds, and unfortunately, that was always going to happen. Just nothing that he's left himself with here. And the cut that Zhao Xingtong was taken into the corner is about to be pretty much replicated there by Murphy if he fancies his chances. But, I mean, this one, if anything, is going to be even more serious and even more difficult than the one that Zhao attempted previously into that left part of the table. So for now, still, as we look to try and get past the first frame of the second mini session here, of the session number 2. And yeah, Murphy clearly has got his mind up. Very much, made quickly out there. Decides not to be doing anything silly or risky. Display that cue ball to the top end side of the table and make sure you'll come down to a safety battle to try and battle it out for 40 more points on those reds. And try and make sure when you do that, especially, well, it doesn't really matter, but if you're Zhao Xingtong, your chances are going to be slightly better than Murphy's, because you've got 7 points of a lead, and all you have to do is make sure when you are going to be potting the last red, your advantage over your opponent is going to be more than 27 points, which will leave them, of course, needing snookers to try and achieve, whilst having yellow and black to be in a very difficult position indeed. So still, Murphy in great control of the match, as you would seem. Just not allowing Zhao Xingtong to settle into this one, and playing with great pace at the same time when he's taking his chances. Probably the best frame that we've seen in the first mini session was that frame number 12 from Sean Murphy. And is he going to try and up his game at another level here? He certainly is going to be able to pot the red. And has he got a bit unlucky with the kiss that he got on the green? Because that was a fantastic red that he's played really, really well. And what's it going to be in relation to the colour that he's about to take here? And is it just going to be a roll up to the brown or yellow? Millions of Chinese fans must be wondering why Zhao is struggling. His potting is no problem, position in safety play very much below par. Yeah, I would say pot's not really... Yeah, I understand what you mean there. His pot success is going to be better than his positional play and his, all the other elements of his game as well. Likes of safeties, the likes of long shots and stuff like that. But his pot success has not been brilliant either. Because you talk about those 2 frames, the frame number 5 could have easily been heading into his favour had he managed to take one of those numerous opportunities that he had. The pink that he kept missing out on numerously, despite it being a frame ball, may have actually been in the same frame there, in the 5th frame. That pink that he missed along the side cushion in the 8th frame as well, and then that red with the frame ball being very much the next colour that he missed into the left corner with now this evening session. So many of those reds that I can think of, and you can probably feel like there's going to be loads more of those in reality, as Murphy just tries to wonder the right way of him playing this shot, and, nearly got a double kiss off the yellow, but at the end stage, seems like he's got the cover on the yellow as well. Now, that's such a lucky shot there from Murphy, because he's played that cue ball to me perfectly onto the ball cushion, but the cue ball sort of stayed there, and the yellow rattled in the jaws, came up to the cue ball and covered up the left-hand side of the table, which probably would have been the red for Zhao Xingtong to play a safety from. Tell you what, this one is going to be anything but easy because of how tight the space is going to be for a cross double to be taken. He needs to make sure whatever he does, he avoids the contact on the red. He nearly has a double kiss, and I mean, it looks like he avoided a calamity, and then still he manages to catch the ping there with the hand side of the cue ball. And even if he hasn't done that, he still would have left the red to be over the left corner. And now it will be down to Sean Murphy once again, trying to have a decent opportunity to try and get this red in. And even though he's going to have 2 more of those to be in a pretty difficult position out there, you feel like he's just going to be a start of something special, and potentially start of something big there for Murphy. Because if he manages to be playing well at this stage, who says that he can't try and keep up the pace very much until the end point, and make sure, when it reaches the final stage, it'll come down to him being very much on the top horse there of his own, and just trying to get that cue ball to be very much obeying the laws of physics of Murphy. making sure that he gets a good bounce with loads of side spin to be kicking in. Make sure he's going to be down to 28 points each as he's about to take the red away into the left corner. Make sure that he tries to play for a pink here as well and give himself a little bit of angle. Try and work out the cue ball to try and drop it for the red onto the right corner. Now then a little bit of topspin here to be added and try and find that gap in between the two reds. Preferably, you want to try and get the second one to be an open play as well. And has he managed to play this shot? I mean, he's pretty much as close to perfect as he could have been. But what can he do to try and get on the next colour? Or is he going to have to be playing the black along the cushion? It's such a nasty sequence of shots there to be lined up with. But it's something that is available to him. And he needs to try and make it work. He's trying to make that black to be heading closer to the pocket. I mean, I'm not sure it's actually going to work too well for him. Because I understand what he's trying to do, to give himself any sort of chance to try and pot that red, but still, you feel like it's just going to be down to trying to pot the black and then put that red somewhere safe as he now gets himself through to 8 points of a lead. So if he takes the black away, that'll be 15 points. And then just trying to get that red through to the green pocket here. So having a look in relation to the black that he's about to take into the corner, play this one with a little bit of topspin. Just to, I mean, has he made the black in? Yes, he has. Thought that one's going to wobble a little bit in the jaws. So then 21 points of a break after that costly miss from Zhao. And how costly is it going to be? Can Murphy try and go for the red into the green pocket? Surely that's taking it one step too far. You know, at least you had to get the cover from the pink. He's not going to get the cover. This one is about as straight as he could have been. Listen, that's a very risky shot for you to be taking. I get the blue and the green are going to be working in your favour. But I'm just not sure that this is the right shot for you to play. And ultimately, it feels like Murphy's going to agree with me on this one. And just try and carefully nudge this one towards the pink. Make sure he blocks off the contact point for the cue ball. Well, didn't quite manage to do that. But at least he hasn't left the red to be available for Zhao. So it'll come down to Zhao to be coming back to the table. So having a look to see what can he try and do with this red. Is he carefully... Why... Sorry, apologies. Let me just try and refresh it again. One thing you try to fix it, and then the same thing that you tried to fix it is still not working. So then, yeah, there we go. The safety was played there by Zhao. So Sean Murphy's now going to come back to the table, trying to go for this red into the green pocket. And now he's got himself into 15 points of a lead as he tries to take the red away. Make sure that he's going to be able to get past the green here. And through the gap of the yellow and green, I would say. And try and get that cue ball. Oh, I mean, it doesn't want to contact on the yellow. And he's about to get it here. Is he going to have still perfect positional sense on the reds? He will. About as close as he could have been to perfection. So once again down to Zhao to find himself on the back foot and having to respond to numerous of those challenges from Murphy. It just seemed like he's overwhelming him with those type of shots. And, you know, his safety certainly has improved here in the second session with Murphy. And it seemed like Zhao just hasn't managed to find enough of an improvement. Oh, he's hit the black. Where's the cue? Is this going to be a free ball? It should be a free ball from here. Is that going to be a massive advantage? So, yeah, he will be down to respot of the cue ball. So it won't be a free ball. Well, listen, still 7 points is going to be quite a massive game changer here for the Reds, because now he does come across with only a red and a colour needed. As long as it's a high value colour, that will be enough for Murphy to be over the finish line. And of course, you still have to realise Zhington's going to have to try and do it again after the referee. He's going to be able to successfully respot the reds and the black in relation to each other. It does seem like pretty much mission impossible for now for Zhao to be the winner of this particular frame. I'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case when the frame is certainly over and, well, done and dusted with, I should say. So for now, the referee just trying to set the black to be onto a perfect position. And now there we go. That should be perfect. So now down to the red to be placed right underneath the spine there. And, yep, pretty much first time. A little bit more, and then the red is going to be respotted as well. So now down to the cue ball. Yeah, the thing with Zhao here is that just hitting the red is not really going to make him sort of make that all of his struggles to disappear. He still needs to make sure he hits that one well enough so he puts the red safe, and at the same time you feel like it probably won't be an easy task for him to try and get this one on the board. Getting worse for Zhao, it is. And it's not going to get any better from this stage, you feel. 678 points Murphy scored, 785 that Zhao Xingtong's managed to achieve, but yet Murphy could find himself with 3 frames of a cushion. Don't know, by the way, why the red has gone in favour of Zhao Xingtong. Sorry about that. There we go. Don't know what happened there. How did he manage to hit the red? How did he manage to pot the red without hitting the red first? That's going to be the first thing in snooker. Anyway, he's about to go for another swerve. He can't afford to mistake here. And he's taking this one a lot wider. Where's the red going to finish? He needs a good bounce on the yellow. He needs a really good bounce on the yellow. And he's actually got a really nice bounce on the yellow as well. So, still seems like, indeed, yeah. I mean, it was getting worse and worse for Zhao, but it seems like he was able to catch a break there a little bit. And now it does come across as Sean Murphy is going to have to try and come back to the table whilst playing this red towards the right side cushion. You know, make sure that you don't have a double kiss on this one here as well. And also when you do that, don't be anywhere near trying to leave that red over the middle. Make sure you justify that pace and you play that with a great bit of speed there for yourself. And he's trying to push the yellow towards the corner. Has he managed to get enough traction on the red here? He seems like he's just about managed to get enough there for this red not to be possible by Zhao Xingtong. But you never want to take a chance like that away with Zhao here because, you know, just because he wasn't playing well pretty much throughout those 9 frames here, since that 3-0 of a lead, doesn't mean that he can try and turn this one around with a single shot there, taking this red into the corner and making things, well, making a lot of things to be right for himself. For now, just trying to get in behind that brown or somewhat close to it. It'll be interesting to see the way and how much of that red can actually be seen by Murphy. But now, the answer is not a lot of it. And he's managed to get that one to be covered up nicely by the blue. So then, off the right side cushion, he will go once again, it would seem. But this time around, it's Murphy that finds himself in a little bit of trouble here. And it has been a bit of a swing since what we've seen beforehand, where, you know, he was down to Murphy having such a great chance and a great opportunity to try and make things right for himself. Now, all of a sudden, he finds himself in the position with trying to get these contact points on the reds, and he hasn't managed to do it. So, first time wasn't lucky for him. And he will be down to attempt number 2. As he just tries to put himself to a position where the cue ball is not going to be respotted with too bad of an effort. And ultimately, it will come down to a decent opportunity here for Murphy to basically try and replicate the line. Just a little bit more pace, it would seem. And then he should get in behind the red. Now then, he's going to be happy with the placement of the cue ball. So just try and take this one away and make sure it doesn't allow Zhao Xingtong to be getting too many of those points, or this one is going to be close. Well, tell you what, this is going to be a little bit too much of pace. And has this red been left away for Zhao Xingtong? This is interesting, you know, because he's got a yellow to be over the green pocket. This may be worth to be heading for, you know. If you try and pot this red into the corner, you find yourself to be in a position of trying to sort of land on the yellow. The red is likely to bounce away from the pocket. He's going for it. Now is he going to try and make this one in? This looks good. This looks really good. And he's managed to beat on the yellow. Wow, this is a fantastic shot there at the end from Zhao Xingtong. And it's only going to get better from here, you would seem. Because if he takes the yellow away, of course, he still needs to try and get the position on the yellow. So just make sure he judges the pace nicely. And then when he does that, he should be lined up perfectly for a clearance for the frame. Not quite, not quite. He wants to keep on running. The cue ball is going to be there. So, apart from the green to be slightly off this spot, this does look perfectly well for Zhao Xingtong to try and make it over the finish line. Just the green and the brown, the place where he probably can go wrong for Zhao Xingtong. But for now, it only seems like he's going to make this one right for himself. And carefully heading for the green, about to try and take this one away with just a stun there on the white. Make sure he's going to have the brown available to the yellow pocket to be taken. And then he'll come down to 10 of those points to be taken with Zhao Xingtong. Try and carefully go for the brown here. Nothing that he needs to try and imaginate. And well, doesn't want to be straight on the blue. We've been here before, and he is going to be wrong side of a blue here. Well, I tell you what, we've certainly been here before. He needs the pink and the black. Well, all he needed to do was to recover on the brown. He's managed to recover on the brown nicely, but now this pink is just about as missable as the one that he hasn't managed to take into this exact pocket, into the right part of the table. This does seem like a little bit better though in terms of the angle, and it's going to be better taken as well. The angle on the black is going to be perfect. Now then, Zhao Xingtong to try and make it only one frame as the difference in between himself and Shaun Murphy, and it is going to be Zhao Xingtong to try and make things right once again. When it matters, he makes sure he's going to deliver, and it's now going to be 6-7 in relation to those frames. Murphy still leads Zhao Xingtong, but what a turnaround in so little time out there. Murphy finds himself to be absolutely speechless after such a good sequence of shots there, and probably a bit of a poor shot from Shaun Murphy as well. The fact that he was actually leaving himself a chance for Zhao Xingtong to go for that red along the side cushion, it probably felt like it was something that he should not have done, and now he leaves himself in a position to have that one to be available. So, yeah, as I say, all down to a decent opportunity here to try and make things right. Whether that will be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it does seem very nicely in terms of the way that he's going to get lined up for Zhao Xingtong and Shaun Murphy to make it the battle that we were anticipating out there, but ultimately the battle that we were waiting for. And a little bit of resistance there to be shown by Zhao Xingtong, and now he finds himself in a position of trying to make sure that when it is going to be those nervy frames there, he does take at least a couple of them. We've seen plenty of those to be taken by Shaun Murphy's camp. Now finally, a little bit of contrast. Zhao Xingtong finds himself right back in the mix. Talk about right back in the mix. Barry Hawkins had that 7-4 of the advantage to slip away down to 7-6, although he still finds himself at the table and looking to try and extend his 17 points of a lead against Mark Cullen. Great relief for Zhao and supporters and neutrals. Indeed, well, listen, as I say, I'm all here for it. I'm all here for a great snooker, and ultimately, if I was to choose one of them, I would choose Zhao to try and ultimately break that Crucible curse, or at least try and get really far in this one. But now, it is going to be Hawkins that is trying to make ground on Mark Cullen, as that match is certainly a little bit further away from this one, as it's still going to be very much down to a lead of a couple of points there from Barry Hawkins, that we haven't still started this 14 frame in the match in between Zhao Xingtong and Shaun Murphy. What is this going to come down to? For now, it does seem like it will be Shaun Murphy to try and break it off here, to try and put the cue ball to be in between the brown and the green. Murphy can't do much, not entirely his carelessness. Yeah, he was, I would say he was down to the extent, because he could have played that red better, but to be fair, you probably have to put it down to, you know, Zhao Xingtong had a similar mistake like that, and he managed to get away with it. With the swerve that he's had tried first time around, he didn't manage to get too far away from the red, but he still didn't hit it. And at the end stage, it was down to him very much not to have the advantage of trying to take it over the finish line. You know, it was down to him just because he hasn't done it. It's not Zhao Xingtong's fault, but certainly something that is Zhao Xingtong's fault is the scoreline. Look at this. He has been very much trying to catch up with Murphy since going 3-5 down. 4-5, 5-6, and now 6-7. There is a pattern there to be seen where when Zhao Xingtong finds himself 2 frames behind, he does seem to come back, but it does seem to come back with only 1 frame to be in it. And then, oh, that's a bit of a reckless shot there. And is he going to pay the price? It seems like he's just about managed to get away with that one in relation to, he sent the red to go all the way to the top and side of the table, and at the same time, the cue ball is still going to be way over the top of the bulk line, so it does seem like he's going to be covered up by the brown in relation to that red to be taken into the left-hand side of the table here as well. But for now, it's still not going to be as easy as it could have been for Shaun Murphy in relation to trying to find anything easy to try and take into the left or right corner. It felt like probably the left corner is going to be the optimal one to try and go for a long red here, but it's probably going to be the one closest to the pink. And that's probably where the options are going to be very much ending there for Zhao Xingtong. And Shaun Murphy here, of course, at this stage. Yeah, whatever Murphy does, you feel like you can't really win in this shot because you know, he's going to be getting that cue ball through to a zone where that dangerous red is always going to feel like he's going to make Sean Murphy feel very much vulnerable when he gets too close to that one. And, well, the best thing is just trying to get through and hit it. Well, is that a good enough shot? It seems like it is. Well, is there a gap there for the cue ball to try and squeeze past the pink and into the right corner? Zhao has a little glance to it, and straight away, seems like he's about to refuse that short selection. So it should come down to another opportunity here to try and, well, maybe roll the cue ball behind the yellow. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that he can do here because of how close the cue ball is going to be towards the left side cushion. But ultimately, he'll probably come down to this. And he's trying to play that shot full pace, pretty much full contact in the face there. He got that red safe, and it's about as much as he could have asked there for himself. And yeah, once again, just getting those first chance in the frame of 14, something that he wasn't able to do pretty much at any point during this match. Trying to get himself through to a decent point and try and make sure that he's going to be very much the one to try and take it away from Murphy. Zhao did a look at Brazil shot, difficulty in safety escape, might as well blast it and hit high for the best. Yeah, but I feel like he was trying to do something of a plan there. As much as he was never going to go in, it felt like he was going to try and use the second red as the break point for the first red. It didn't really work because he didn't hit a clean contact on it, you know, and because of that, the red's gone all the way towards the green pocket as well. So, anyway, as I say, it doesn't really matter because we've seen a couple of those shots from Murphy where he was getting away with it. But to be fair, you probably have to, if you are to make a statement on who's being a little bit more fortunate, you probably have to put it down to Zhao. If you had to choose one of the two of them, that is always going to be catching the black. He nearly potted the black into the corner. He probably forgot that he needs to pull a red first. Not for the first time, Zhao finds himself in a position of giving 7 points away. As I say, great commentary. Thanks, dude. Giving 7 points unnecessary. Yes, absolutely. So now, once again, he'll be down to the black to be respotted here. I'm not sure if you mean by the previous rate, but he's done that here again. And it does certainly feels like he will come down to a decent opportunity here for Zhao to recover. But he needs to recover here because, of course, if he doesn't do it from the second time, the 3 Mistral is going to apply to him. And that will put him in so much trouble there in relation to the referee having to warn him. And that is never a nice thing for you to be doing. And it's a really nice system there, by the way. They have gone the coverage where it literally allows you to be seeing how far the cue ball is from its previous position there in relation to all the colours and all the reds. It's now just trying to force that white to be perfectly where he was. A little bit further away from the referee and towards the left middle. There we go. That seems to be spot on. And now it will be down to Zhao to try and take this one away and make sure, as I say, he doesn't make the same mistake twice, because in that way, in that case scenario, it will come down to a potential 3 Mistral to be a real danger there for Zhao. And for now, just having a look to see. Seems like he's going to be happy with this one. So yeah, he needs a really good shot. I'm a little bit surprised that he's trying to take this one for the second time as well. And well, he's done the same thing here. 7 more points to be given away, and this is going to be a little bit longer, losing his head. Well, this is going to be interesting because right now, Sean Murphy's going to have a look to see what can he try and actually achieve there with the ball in hand, because he knows Zhao won't go for the same mistake 3 times in a row. Yeah, I tell you what, losing his head was a little bit of a harsh statement, but I might have to agree with you on that one. Why on earth would you play the same shot again? Now Murphy, with a chance to try and make things right and take this red away into the corner. He doesn't miss those. Is he going to have the cover in terms of the colours available to him? Just wants to try and get that keyword to slow down. He's fine, just about fine to be taking the brown into the yellow pocket and try and make sure he's going to keep himself with a chance here to go for the brown here. Make sure the cue ball is going to come running down the lower end of the table. He's played that shot well in relation to the brown, and he's still going to be on the red of one of the lowest ones and to the left corner that he's aiming for. So then 19 points of a lead here for Murphy, ultimately 5 points on the break. But you have to say, it does seem like it will be a very difficult place for Sean Murphy, for Zhao to get out of, because the same sequence just seems to continue here. A frame that you win, a frame that I win, and Sean Murphy is going to be very much happy with that result, because that will keep that 2-frame advantage very much until the end of the match. And right now, it does seem like he's about to guarantee himself, of course, winning this frame. I'm not saying that he's about to win the frame here, but if he does win the frame, he's guaranteed not to be down into the third session, and that is going to be a great achievement against the world champion, because once again, the fact that he's managed to keep him quiet in the scoreline ever since that third frame has been very, very impressive. And you know, very few players have done that over the course of the World Championship, both this season and last season as well. You talk about all the sort of first to 10, first to 13 matches. He seems to dominate pretty much every single one of them. As there's about to have a triangle of green, pink and blue next to each other, so the referee's checking for that. Disheartening to see a good player struggling. Seeing that with O'Sullivan and now Zhao. Yep, true. And the problem is, O'Sullivan had a lead of 6 frames to 2. Zhao doesn't have the lead. Well, he had the lead of 3 frames to 0, but that seemed like it was absolutely, well, very much low on the weekly schedule. And Murphy doesn't want to be straight on the blue, and he's going to be straight on the blue. About to try and take that one into the left middle. It's going to be a bit nasty there for him to try and take this one away. And ultimately try and get that cue ball to be running down the table here. Try and make sure you'll be closer towards the black and those reds, as he's probably about to go for the red closest to the black here. If that one does go past the black into the right corner, he's about to have another great chance of trying to make a couple of things right there for himself. And trying to set himself up for a shot to be taken into the right corner. He will come down to potential shot on the black to be available into the left part of the table as well, which is going to be another great thing there that he's going to experience. And probably come down to a decent opportunity to try and exploit the most out of that particular shot. So then, is he going to be able to do that? For now, it seems like he can try and achieve this result to be taking the red into the corner, and he seems to have done that really, really well. Now then, 33 points of a lead. How's Higgins doing? He's doing pretty well, because he's not doing anything right now. He's going to have to try and resume his match against Robertson tomorrow, because the ending wasn't really the best one for him. And now Murphy has got 33 points of a lead, just trying to take the black away. Oh, has he missed that one? Yes, he has missed that black. Wow. If you don't have anything to go your way of Zhao, you're going to have your opponent to be giving you a gift like that. And Murphy, no wonder he's devastated. Let's see what Zhao can achieve with this particular red, because the situation that he finds himself with is still one of treacherous of a condition. But ultimately, now that gap of 33 points, at least it's not going to get extended there by Murphy in the foreseeable future. But ultimately, can he try and make things right for himself? I keep saying that. And always, when he's only 1 frame behind, he never seems to have the answer of a yes to that question. Trying to go for the pink into the green pocket. Try and get that cue ball to be running down the table. Murphy error. He does that once in a while when he seems to be cruising. Yes, not for the first time he's done that in this match either. But what can Zhao do here? Because this is certainly going to be the turning point, not just in the session, but ultimately in the entire match. But that is going to be another mistake there from Zhao. Another red, which will stay out away from the right corner. Well, it was always going to happen at some stage, but I genuinely thought it was going to be a little bit later on. And I actually thought maybe this is going to be the point where Zhao is going to be able to put all of his struggles behind him and try and get through to 7-all of the scoreline to be the reality. For now, the answer seems to be negative. And he still finds himself in a position of having to leave his opponent a chance here to be heading for this red, even though it's not quite as easy as it could have been. You know, the red is over the pocket, but it's obviously on the cushion, which is why Murphy needs an extra bit of preparation to get this red in. You know, seeing those missed as well, and also that cue ball is going to be placed very awkwardly on the next colour. I mean, Murphy is not really in the position where he can just try and take those reds away without a second warning, but you know, he still needs colour with him. So now 27 points is the lead for Zhao to try and face up with. A deficit, of course, 27 points of a lead for Sean Murphy, but it does seem like it's very unlikely to try and develop even further, because if you try and take the black away into the yellow pocket, it'll be difficult to try and hold this one away for a shot into the left corner as well. In the meantime, he's going to have to surely go for the pink to be taken into the right-hand side of the table here. Can he try and just get this one in without sacrificing himself too much to be faced with a shot to be taken onto the left corner? Yeah, he's sort of done that. Has he done that well enough though? Seems like he's left himself with a chance to try and take the red into the middle, although the fact that he's checking the bulk cushion here will probably suggest that he's not really going to be looking forward to be seeing too much of it. I don't see Zhao winning this match for now. Yep. Listen, for now, you can't see him winning this match because he's 7-6 down, but you still feel like this frame is not quite over, although it does seem like it's going to be very difficult to try and overturn 33 points of a lead, especially with so many points to be given for free to Murphy. But even past this frame, it's going to be 2 more of those to try and see the action there in between the 2 players. And ultimately, if someone is able to try and overcome that couple of frames with a disadvantage, then it should be down to very much Zhao to try and achieve that, because he's done it before, he's done it time and time again, and if he manages to do it here again, then he will be a real threat for that World Championship crown to be retained for him. For now, the problem is Murphy won't really have that on his plans, and he's going to try and go for the kill, and he's got a chance now to go for the kill into the corner. Not good enough from the safety point of view from Zhao, and the problem for Murphy though, you know, just put the brown somewhat safe. Probably has got only 2 colors to be aiming for. Those 2 colors, well, probably only 1 color really. He's got only the yellow to be aiming for with this red. I mean, surely he's not going to try and take the power away from the cue ball. He needs to try and eject a little bit extra power. He's done that. Now, is he going to be on the yellow? That cue ball seems to be a little bit too much pace, but is he going to slow down in time? He will. Perfectly judged shot there from Shaun Murphy. Took that red well into the heart of the pocket, and now he's about to have a really nice chance to take the yellow away into its own pocket, and then he'll be down to very much trying to build on this lead there that he already has, and very much looking to finish off the job here very, very swiftly for him. But still seemingly coming across the problem of trying to get that cue ball to be hammered from the left side cushion and to be heading all the way down. So that seems like he's played for a shot into the middle. Seems like he's got pretty nicely on that one. And, well, the reaction on his face probably tells you that he wasn't playing for a shot into the middle, because it looks like he was trying to play for the pink here, and it hasn't really worked out with him here. He's going to have a difficult line to try and take that red away into the left middle whilst playing for the colour. It does seem like he's going to have to try and play for the pink here and make sure that cue ball is going to stay on the pink for now. Has he managed to get that shot in? Yes, he has. He's still going to be on the pink here as well. So, tell you what, it doesn't seem like it's going to get any easier here for Zhao in the meantime, because it's going to be a chance here for Shaun Murphy to try and get this pink into the corner. Make sure that he's going to try and stay on the red to be taken into the left-hand side as well. For now, plenty of backspin there to be added as he plays for that red to be taken straight past the pink, and find himself to be in the position whilst trying to go for a shot into the left-hand side of the table. Let's just try and try something different here for the last couple of frames, because it does seem like broadcast is going to be slightly further away from the reality. So let me just try and fix that one away. There we go. So just trying to see if the screen is going to get any, well, more responsive out there. But for now, at least we got the coverage to be working out. So then the pink is about to be taken into the right corner. But the problem for Shaun Murphy, the biggest one that he has got ahead of himself is probably going to come down to the factor of having to go for those reds while still not really playing so well. But you could say it's a problem, but you could probably also say that it's a great addition there for the factor of not really playing so well and still winning those very important frames out there. He's done that in frame number 10, he's done that in frame number 12, and all of a sudden he's about to do this in frame number 14 as well, as he now finds himself to be prematurely 65 points to 8. So then a frame ball in the pink, and if this one makes it into the corner, then Shaun Murphy's guaranteed not to be losing ahead of the third session, and that will be the case. Once again, that long red that he's taken really, really well at the starting point of the break. It just seemed like it was 32 points ago, but now it is going to be very much the shot that won him this frame and puts him into a very comfortable lead to try and, as I say, make things right. Make sure he's still going to have a chance that he had ahead of himself and carefully go for the pink. Another break of 50 plus points to be available to him. Zhao will be hoping for 8-all to boost his confidence. I'd say he probably takes a 9-7 right now, to be honest with you. I mean, like, just because of how much there is going to be at stake to make sure you're not going to be 10-6 down. If you're 10-6 down, forget about it. You're going to have to play your absolutely best snooker to try and make sure you are going to be in there with a chance, because for now, it seems like he's nowhere near his best and he'll still be very much in a problem of trying to go for those type of shots. You know, trying to make sure he leaves himself with those opportunities to be taken. And at the same time, right now, he's about to be struggling with another shot here to be taken. It's Murphy there just thinking about going for another raid into the right corner. But, I mean, when it comes to Zhao, what can he try and achieve in the remaining 2 frames? And can he genuinely feel like there is going to be a chance to try and take those frames away from Sean Murphy? Both of them especially, in relation to he's probably going to be capable of trying to do that once. But doing that on 2 occasions separately is going to be such a difficult job there to be done. And for now, Murphy's just trying to accumulate a couple more of those points. Go for the black here into the corner. And make sure he's still going to be on the break of 53 points and counting. And get himself through to an opportunity of trying to go for this raid. Carefully rolled into the right corner. And make sure he's still going to keep his chances for a break of, I don't know, what's it going to be? Something like 80 plus points. Especially if he takes it with the pink, he's going to have the green and the blue to be separated by barely an inch as he tries to make that cue ball past them and onto the yellow to be set up with. So a break of 60 points. So it could still be a fantastic total clearance of 87 points, especially with when he came to the table, that position looked like he was going to be doing really well to get over the finish line. Now, you know, it's 100 points that he scores, and finally, he's able to get closer and closer to those points that Zhao has managed to score over the course of the match. Now, trying to take that green away, it does look like the cue is going to be slightly too close towards the green pocket, and he'll be a mighty brown to try and keep this total clearance to be heading past the spot on the brown. Decent effort, not quite good enough, and he will be the break of 65 points, which is still going to be the 3rd highest that Sean Murphy has managed to produce, and it will be very much the 5th highest what we've seen in the entirety of the match as well, as Sean Murphy finds himself to be over the finish line once again. Yet another frame where he leaves himself to be in there with a chance to try and make it past the world champion here, and Zhao will feel like this does start to unravel a little bit and leave himself in a position where he will be very much a problem to try and take this one away without it being too uncomfortable. By the way, I've just seen PSG against Bayern Munich is 5 frames, 5 to 4 of a scoreline. I mean, that is absolutely mad. That is going to be one for you to rewatch later on in the season. I mean, how on earth have we got into a position where we genuinely have got PSG and Bayern in the semi-final of the Champions League to be scoring 5 and 4 goals each respectively? Is that the second leg? Surely it's not the second leg as well. That's going to be the first leg. I mean, that's absolutely mad. How many goals have we seen out there? Apparently there was a 5-2 of a lead, and now it's gone back down to 5-4. Well, that's incredible there to be seen. Anyway, back to snooker we go, and listen, back to the snooker we go, but ultimately it will be down to the 15th frame to be finished with a century break once again, and Mark Allen is looking to try and make it another break of 140 points. Seems like he's made his mind up on going for a 138 here, as he's had so many of those breaks of 140. You know, if the highest break was split, he's going to have to share it with himself out there. But now, it still feels like he will come down to a decent chance here to be taken from Mark Allen to try and make it down to 8 frames to 7, which of course he has done already, but ultimately trying to make the scoreline to look a little bit nicer for him as well, and try and make it past in relation to the comfort zone there for himself. 10-6 should be very handy for Murphy. Next frame will be big for Zhao. Absolutely agree, because he will come down to whoever wins the frame basically manages to allow them to be setting up the pace to what's going to happen in the remainder of this match as well, because You know, ultimately, you probably have to say, even if Zhao Xingtong is unable to try and do something about it, then he might have a glimmer of hope to try and make things right there, but you feel like it probably won't really be the case, because at the same time, it will be very difficult for him to try and achieve that on the point of leaving a chance away for Zhao Xingtong. But yeah, for now, it does seem like he will be the starting point of the 15th frame here. Don't know why Murphy hasn't still got the break to be ending. And now it's a break-off shot there by Xingtong. Leaves the shot. A nice little turn here to be heading for the red, to be taken into the corner. And he's taking that one. And is he going to be on the collar? Once again, Murphy just seems like right now he is able to find a little bit too much for Xingtong. And the green is about to make it past the pocket again. You feel like this is when you go for the kill. This is the time where Zhao Xingtong was killing his opponents away and making sure they're going to stand no chance against him. Right now, this is exactly something that Sean Murphy's doing, and trying to go for the red into the left corner. Make sure that cue ball, he's going to keep on running towards the blue and keep himself very much in a high scoring opportunity here in relation to how many of those points can he try and accumulate to make sure that he will go past the point of you know, Zhao Xingtong to try and keep this one away from the bottom half of the table. And now, it's a bad shot there in relation to the cue ball. Is he going to have a chance to try and go for the red anyway? He's put the pink safe, but at least he's got a red to try and continue the break from here, because this is going to be a massive shot there that he's played. Look at that for a long red, of course, at the starting point, but ultimately the blue, he seems like it's a shot that has managed to give him a couple of reds to try and work his way through. But at the same time, what can he try and achieve of the red to be taken into the left middle pocket? If he's going to be able to try and play through this one on for the blue. And he's just about got too much of the backhand jaw. And now, Zhao Xingtong, here is your time. You've got the position to match. And now, make sure it will be down to a scoreline to match as well. Murphy very much in top gear now. He may be down to the show because he's not going to be at the table. And he will be down to a decent opportunity here to try and take this one away. And put it down to very much Zhao Xingtong to have that ability to respond to those, little tests from Sean Murphy. Once again, just make sure that pattern, at least at this stage, he will be very much coming alive for him, where whenever there is going to be a 2 frame of a gap for Murphy, Xingtong always seems to cut it down to just a single frame, to be fair. Spoke too soon, for now you have. But listen, I still feel like there is not really the huge boost of confidence there. You feel like, you know, when Xingtong comes back to the table, you always feel like, well, you're not really getting another chance. You don't have this feeling in the air right now. And he's got still a decent opportunity to try and take the blue into the left middle. Make sure that cue ball is going to come down the table here. He's going to have a decent opportunity of taking those reds into the left part of the table. And just make sure he puts himself in a nice position here as well. Trying to go for the red into the left corner. And ultimately just making sure he keeps that points on the board there for himself. Trying to make it 10. Wow, surely he hasn't missed this red. Nearly done. He's nearly done himself so dirty. That was such a close miss that he had. But in the end, the red does drop in after an absolute, century that he had to wait for that red to drop in. And lifetime, it seems like it's gone flashing before his eyes. But once again, just a little bit too close to that red. At least he's still going to have a chance to try and pot that one away. Crying about size of a frame box. Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't really understand it, but 73%. I forgot about that poll, by the way, Ghost. Thank you for reminding me. But listen, I mean, surely you can notice it. I'll have a look at it later on, but I never said that I'm going to change it. I've just thought I may as well put it down to the test. But I still feel like if I was to put the same poll, but with the answer yes to be the opposite, which, to be fair, as soon as this frame finishes, we'll do it for the last one, just to make sure, just to test my theory. Because I feel like whenever people see yes, they just go for it anyway. And, not so many of them are actually going to read to the second option as well. But I may be wrong. Maybe completely wrong on that one. Anyway, for now, Zhao Xingtong finds himself in a position of 12 points clear. About to go for another red here to be taken into the right corner. And ultimately, you feel like this is going to be the chance for him to try and really make things right there for himself. Because if he goes for this red to be taken into the left corner, he's going to leave himself on the block. The pink is out of the picture, and he probably will stay there until the end point of the frame. And play this one nicely. Gets that cue ball to be running towards the black. And carefully heading towards the right corner there. Ideally, wants to try and hit that white to be heading straight into those reds. To make sure he will come down to those reds to be taken into the corner. On a phone, it's hard to read. Can still read it, but would be better if bigger. Okay, leave the file. Yeah, leave the fly. Okay, understood. I'll have a look. As I say, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I just don't really understand how can I make it bigger without making it look ridiculous. But okay, I'll have to work out something on that. I just never thought it was actually an issue. By the way, like, once again, one thing I will do is feel free to be doing that. If you feel like something is not right for you, make sure you let me know in the chat so that I'm not saying I'll fix it, but I'm saying that we'll certainly have a look at it. By the way, it's a massive long red there for Zhao, and this is a lot better. This is a trademark Zhao shot. He makes that one nicely into the green pocket, and now he will come down to a decent shot that he's played, getting himself to be 3 on for the black, and now trying to, as I say, really make things right there for himself and make sure that he will come down to a decent opportunity to try and still keep it on the black. Make sure he gets those reds to be further away from the cue ball. And now carefully taking it back down for another black here to be taken into the opposite side of the table. As he rolls that red in with no pace at all towards the right corner. And he's going to try and make sure that he will be 39 points that place 10. Making sure that cue ball is going to come running at the black. And getting closer and closer towards taking that red into the corner. Zhao red into the green pocket will be the winner in this frame. Hopefully for him. Yeah, he should be. I mean, he's got an absolute, the easiest position that you can dream around. Well, to be fair, I mean, he's had those before, even in this match, where he's had such a nice position ahead of him. And in the end, he didn't really manage to get himself over the finish line. Hopefully that it won't be the issue here. He takes another black into the right corner. Make sure that he's still going to be very much looking to try and, as I say, make things right there for himself. It's about as much as you can do. And for now, it does seem like he's about to go for another black to be taken. And, well, slowly but steadily, he's actually put himself over the reaching point there for Shaun Murphy. So another black in the red combination to disappear. And all of a sudden, he finds himself on the break of pretty much 70 points out there. Trying to make things right, but ultimately just trying to make sure he ends up with a century break at last. Because if he manages to make a real break out of this one, all of a sudden you could say Shaun Murphy and Zhao have really put on a great show, and surely the ending for the show is going to be down to a nice little 8-all draw, because that will genuinely put it down to the last session to be the most anticipated session of the whole championship. Because let's be fair, I feel like the majority thought that Ronnie was going to be able to get over the finish line against Higgins. Weasley against Selby was good, but surely he's not going to be as good if world champion is going to be up against another great player of Shaun Murphy, another world champion, of course. I mean, the reigning one, trying to break that Crucible curse and trying to make sure he will be the one to try and set the pace away to this matchup. As for now, taking another colour away, gets himself lined up for the yellow, and a total clearance of 117 points is still going to be down to this one. Will the misread by Murphy cost him dear? Time will tell. Yes, to tell you what, that was certainly the one where you felt like you couldn't miss that red away. But those are the chances sometimes. You felt like that was the time for Murphy to try and break the sequence and try and go 3 frames clear. Right now, could it be time for Zhao to break the sequence and make sure he will be down to him? Try and make the scoreline to be absolutely level and make it down to a first to 5 showdown and best of 9 frames in the third session over the potential for a decider to be seen. As for now, it's going to be a break of 104 points, makes it the second century in the match. We haven't still seen any one of those from Shaun Murphy with his breaks of 60, 65, 69 and 90 to be the top 4 highest of what we've seen of him. For now, it's about to be 117 from Zhao, and he will be down to 1 more frame of the action, 2 and a bit hours since the starting point of this match. It is going to come down to that particular frame. Is he going to be the story for Murphy? Is he going to be the story for Zington? We'll have to wait and see on that one. For now, it does still seem like it will be very much the story for the both of them in relation to the way that he can try and get over the finish line, because we've seen numerous chances there for both of the players. And at the same time, we have seen so many of those great chances that we just haven't really seen them take it. And now it will be down to Murphy. If he's got another chance, he'll probably be happy with it. Right now, he'll probably be down to the same thing to be said about Zhao as well, because he's going to try and make his way towards that 8-all to be the scoreline. But if he doesn't make it past the finish line here, then you certainly feel like it will be a great disappointment for him to try and carry into the third session. If it goes 8-all, Zhao will close it out in the last session. Yeah, he will probably be the favourite to do that. But listen, it's a big if that is going to happen, because for now, he still finds himself in a position of trying to make things right. And he will be down to the 16th frame about to begin. And now it will be Zhao versus Shaun Murphy. One more frame of the action. Let's see which way is he going to go. Is he going to be all the way to try and make things right for Zhao, or is Shaun Murphy going to be just a little bit too strong and make sure that pattern is going to be very much relevant when it comes down to the outcome of this particular result? For now, he has been very stable out there, because once again, 5 frames to 3, that 2 frames of a cushion that Murphy had, he hasn't gone anywhere for him. It was always 1 frame that Zhao gets, then 1 more frame for Shaun Murphy, and the sequence has never been broken for pretty much 7 frames right now. Let's see if it is about to be broken here though, because Zhao is about to make his way towards the 16th frame, the final frame of the session, as we wait for Shaun Murphy to return from a bathroom break as well. It does seem like it will be a very much anticipated session there to be seen. And in the meanwhile, we're going to have to try and get this one in to be working out down to the lower ending of the standing. 16th frame in the match of Mark Cullen and Barry Hawkins does seem like it will certainly drag on for a little bit, as the cue ball is going to have to go in behind the yellow here. And Allen still finds himself in a position of real danger out there to be shown to Barry Hawkins. Murphy will be so disheartened if the scoreline reads 8 frames each. That will be the case, but only if that will actually be the case, because for now, he still finds himself in a really good position, trying to make things right, and he will be down now to that 1 more frame of a showdown for us to be seeing. And if I know Snooker the way I do, I still have got a nice feeling that he will be down to that showdown from Murphy, and he'll probably just about be able to try and make things right for himself in relation to the other frame that he's managed to win. Even though it looked like at that stage, Zhao, well, wasn't really possible for Xington to lose it. That wasn't really the outcome. Murphy was able to just utilize those mistakes from Xington, and at the same time, Xington wasn't quite as clinical as we were expecting him to be. So now then, it will be down to a decent opportunity to be seeing the 16-frame showdown in between the 2 players, as we're about to see whether it will be 9-7 of the advantage in favour of Shaun Murphy, or is it going to be down to Zhao being a little bit too strong in the endpoint, and he will leave Murphy with all to do in that third session. Make sure that advantage is not going to come to absolutely anything, as once again a break-off shot there is done. It was a little bit too close from Murphy, but still managed to get himself through towards the ball cushion unscathed. And now, of course, when you do that, and you manage to separate the reds away pretty nicely away from each other, you will be down to a difficult shot there for Zhao now to have to play. Let's play this one well. He's judged the pace really well for the cue ball as well. Now, this is going to be back to Shaun Murphy here. Once again, it just seems like it's a really nice line there taken by both of the players in relation to the way they've managed to utilize those chances away, but ultimately just the way they've managed to put it down to the other to be put under a little bit more pressure and make sure that they're going to be very much the ones trying to set the pace to the match. Whether it will be the outcome or not, we'll have to wait and see. For now, he still finds himself in a really comfortable position there with Shaun Murphy, because he's still leading a frame and now leaving Zhao to be in a little bit of trouble here, trying to get that cue ball to be running all the way towards the ball cushion, and now making sure that Zhao has got a really nice chance to try and mess things up here, I would say, because the left-hand side is not going to be available to try and do anything in terms of the safety. He might have to try and do it with the right-hand side of the red. Second closest to the black, he's done that. And has he managed to open up the angle enough there? No, he hasn't. So, is he going to be the first real block to Murphy? Is he going to feel like it's going to be worth for him to be taking that red into the left corner, because he'll feel like it's probably not going to be worth it for now, but he's certainly going to try and keep on knocking on the door out there and make sure when that chance does actually come, he's still going to find himself in a really good position to try and take that red away from the opposition player as well. In the meantime, Murphy's just having a look of those reds on the right hand side, trying to play that cue ball into the... Oh, I mean, that was super close to the pink, and he doesn't really want that one to be too close to the pink as well. That cue ball is going to get a big bounce, and the red is going to be playable into the left corner here for Zhao. So there's going to be a great chance for the Cyclone, and we'll have to wait and see on what is he going to be able to achieve here, because he can see that red surely. He's going to be down to, yes, spotting the red. Still, don't take that one for granted too much. How on earth is he refusing this red? Why is he refusing that red to be taken into the corner? I mean, could he not see it? Was I a little bit too optimistic? But, I mean, Murphy certainly can see this red. I mean, did Murphy just really get fortunate with the way that Xington couldn't see that red away? Because I can't believe that he would refuse a pot on something like that. Because Murphy's got the more difficult version of it, and he's certainly going to take this one into the corner, because there is going to be a wide gap there for the cue ball to try and get towards the right hand side of the table. So they'll try and play this one with full power. Is he going to be on the top side of a blue? No, he won't be, but he's still going to be on the blue here at least. And as he has got one more red to be right next to the left corner of the table, it will be down to a decent opportunity to try and take this one all the way there from Zhao, because he still finds himself in a position where Murphy is going to have a very difficult position ahead of him. Yes, he's the one that gets the first chance, which is always nice, but how many points is he actually going to be able to score out of this opportunity? The black is nowhere to be seen. Yes, the pink does spot into 4 on the main pockets, but at the same time, you probably have to put this one down to a decent opportunity still needs to be utilized there by Murphy. And it seems like he's already trying to find himself out of trouble here. Trying to go for the red into the corner. I mean, trying to play for the pink on the bounce is not going to be the one which helps him too much either. So just trying to play for the reds into the left corner of the table. Make sure that he's still going to try and keep it on the pink to be taken into the right middle as well once the shot is taken. So he can always try and take it with the blue, but that's going to be one of those shots where you have to play with full power. And, well, he sort of played it for the pink. No, he's going to be all right there. He got a big bounce on the side cushion. And he's still going to be positioned nicely for this pink. About to be taken into the left corner. And he will be down to a decent opportunity here, as I say, to try and make things right there for himself. Try and make sure the pink is still going to be very much an option to be taken into the left corner. And when that option is going to be the case, Murphy's still going to find himself in a position of trying to take the red away off the left side cushion. And, well, he's going to be taking plenty of time on those shots, especially with it being the last frame of the session. I think Zhao refused because of passing line. It's slightly blocked by the other red. It may have been the case, because I feel like, you know, if anything else apart from that was the reason, then I feel like it would not have been Zhao Xington to be at the table. Anyway, it's, as I say, it's down to Sean Murphy to try and make everything out of this mistake here for Zhao Xington, which so far he hasn't been able to do so. You know, he got a bit of a unwanted kiss on one of those reds, and now he's about to be... Well, first of all, the pink has gone into the black spot, which doesn't really help the case, because it's now not going to be possible into the right corner completely. It may be possible into the left corner if you're going to get the perfect angle on it, but that's going to require perfect positional sense, which I feel like Murphy's not really going to have at this stage. So try and take the red away into the right corner. Make sure that cue ball is going to... Oh, wow, that was a huge miss hit from Murphy. Is he going to fluke a red into the yellow pocket? No, he won't. This is going to be a great chance. Wild Murphy. Yes, absolutely wild there from Murphy. And what's he going to be here as well? Because if he's got a chance to try and take the red like that, this is certainly going to put the reds all over the table. And he will leave a chance away for Zhao Xington to try and go for the red into the yellow pocket. Well, that was certainly wild there from Sean. And let's see on how many points can Zhao Xington score here as well. Because now the reds are going to be wide open. Yes, the good old situation with the pink and the black to be covered up is still going to be relevant. But I feel like with the case of... at least he's going to have a chance to try and take those reds away whilst having them available to himself. And watching on my phone, frame box perfect, bro. Thank you very much. Let me know, everyone. It still seems like it's a debate, which is going to be very much all down to the end there. So, yeah, focus on the 16 frame. It all comes down to this because surely this is a massive turning point. We've seen that with Trump against Murphy in the last season's quarterfinal. It was very much Trump that was setting up the pace to the match. He was able to keep it until the end of that second and third sessions as well. And now this one is going to feel like a massive frame to win for either one of Zhao or Sean Murphy. Zhao a little bit too straight for this raid, so he needs loads of the Q power to try and make it towards the blue. And if he's going to be on the wrong side of it, at least give himself a little bit of the angle to try and work with. He's sort of done that. So now he'll be down to 8 points here to try and score. And, well, trying to make sure that gap in between Murphy and Zington is going to be absolutely nothing before he's able to get himself to try and build a little bit of a gap there of his own. Once again, doesn't want to be straight on the red here. After he plays the blue into the left middle, tries to play that shot with all the power that he's got. But was that enough? That's a question we'll have to find out the answer for a little bit later on in the frame. But it does seem like he's not really happy trying to play for the pink from this position. And it just seems like he's going to have to try and make it past the long run here. Trying to take this red away into the corner. It's not going to be an easy thing to do. But at the same time, it probably will come down to a decent opportunity of taking this red away. And make sure he will come down to a chance to try and... well, if he's going to be overrunning there, which he has done, he could have taken the green here. He's very keen on take the blue, though. So try and play for those reds to be taken into the corner. He seemed like he's played that one just about perfectly well. So still going to have a couple of reds to choose from, as he's going to have a chance to try and take the red away into the left corner and get himself through to an opportunity to be taken off the red away into the left-hand side of the table whilst playing the cue ball to be heading towards the right side cushion. And play for the blue, about to be taken into the left middle as well. So, 3 more reds, which probably are going to be classified as easy there for Zington, on top of the blue, which will get him 9 points clear. Still, every single point is going to count for him because of, look at the way the reds, I mean, talk about the easy reds because of how many difficult reds there are going to be. And the thing about this break of 22 points and counting there for Zington is that if he makes Murphy to feel like he's actually going to be struggling out there, then he'll feel down to those points. They're going to matter massively as well. But now it seems like Zhao Zington is the one struggling a little bit here, trying to make sure that he's not going to be getting too close in relation to being straight on the blue. But in the end, he's managed to sort of come away without any more troubles there, as carefully plays for the red into the corner. Once again, putting a little bit of distance in between the cue ball and the red. Making sure that red is going to go towards the left corner, but he's missed that one way too much in the front jaw. And in the end, 15 points is the lead that he has. And he's got a couple of those reds now to be in a straight line for Sean Murphy. Neither of them are going to be too easy to try and play, but at least it's going to be a great improvement in relation to the way that those reds were set up previously. Session time is going to be over 2 hours of pure playing time as well. So it certainly has been a while since the session has started. 88, a highly suspicious Chinese number. Yeah, well, I'm not sure which one you took. Oh, yeah, the previous frame. Yeah, listen, it's going to be down to 8 all potentially to be available here for the scoreline. And Murphy, I'm not sure whether that was the plan because he overrun massively for the blue. He's going to have to try and take it with the green into its own pocket. And he's going to have to be very, very cautious with this approach, because it still feels like his rest spot success in the tournament is 87%. So he's going to try and take it towards the wider red, try and give himself an angle to try and get that cue ball to be heading back for the blue. Inevitably, we are getting somewhere in relation to those reds. The question is, how far is Murphy going to be able to try and keep this break going for himself before eventually having to realise that he's going to have to try and bring the pink or the black into the open play, to try and give himself as a better option of taking a colour with those reds. For now, still finds himself 10 points behind, about to make that 5-0. As he takes a break of just 10 points, but every single one of those colours, every single one of those reds, you know, gets you closer towards such a massive frame. Frame number 16. It was always going to come down to this one with, as I say, the pattern of Zhao Xington always closing their lead back down to just a single frame. You know, when he was 2 frames down. And by the way, let's have a very quick look how the match in between Barry Hawkins and Mark Allen is actually doing right now as it stands. It will probably come down to a decent opportunity for Allen to try and close that lead back down to 8-7 in both of them. So, still seem like it's anyone match for the taking in both of those 2 instances. As Murphy still finds himself 1 point ahead, and every single point, as I said, is certainly going to be a great case to try and showcase the opportunity for you to try and either take a 2-0 of a lead, basically, into the final session, or is he going to be down? And once again, exactly the same mistake as the one that we've seen from Zhao Xington. Once again, into the left corner, and once again into the front jaw there from Shaun Murphy. Absolute deja vu from a mistake of the Magician and the Cyclone. And now the same red has cannoned into the pink. And this could be another turning point, especially if this red is taken. The cue ball is going to be close to the middle. It's going to be very close to the middle, but in the end just about catches the front jaw to make sure he's still going to stay on the blue here. Down to 59 points available. Nothing to separate us all. 29 points for each of the players. And ultimately, where is there... Well, is there going to be a gap to try and play for the red into the right corner? Go Zhao Xington. And yeah, if you're going to be able to try and take the blue away, make sure you try and drop that cue ball to be lined up for the red. Has he played the shot well enough? Yes, he has. He's played that shot about as well as he could have potentially done so. And now having a look at the score sheet straight away, just having to realise he needs to take every single one of those 4 reds away, and then you'll be able to take it down to the 17th frame with a scoreline of 8 frames each. It will be a great thing for us to be seeing, but ultimately it will be a great thing to achieve for Zhao Xington as well. In the meantime, just trying to take another red towards the right corner to make sure he's still going to stay on the ping to be taken into the left corner. And make sure he's going to have a chance to try and take the red away from the black ball cushion. Play the cue ball into the red, but he got into the red a little bit too much out there. And it seems like, well, it's difficult to say from this angle. It's going to be a really difficult cut for you to try and make it to the corner. Can he see the cut-off point? Can he try and go for this red away without actually making it too harsh of a decision to make? Is he going to be down to just trying to play safe whilst trying to hold on to that 12 points of a gap that you have? It's clearly not the solution that Zhao Xington wants to go for, so I would expect him to try and attempt this cut into the corner. He's gone for it, and the cue ball is going to be close to the yellow pocket. He will just about stay away from it, and now, what is this going to come down to? 13 points of a lead, 43 at the table. What is he going to try and do here? Is it going to be another one of those situations where he's just going to have to try and find the snooker in behind the yellow? That's what he's tried, and he's managed to put that one really nicely behind the yellow. So, after all this, it's only a break of 14 points, but still, it feels like something massive there to be achieved by Zhao Xington, because there is going to be a massive zone as well for Shaun Murphy to try and hit those reds without actually leaving one of them to be available for Zhao Xington. But at the same time, he needs to actually make sure that he doesn't leave too many of those points at the table out there, because if he gets down to 25 points of a difference, he probably will come down to a total clearance to be needed there from Shaun Murphy, which for now he wants to try and avoid, with the black being positioned so awkwardly onto the black ball cushion. So for now, can he try and do that with a simple cushion escape off the right side? And it seems like he's going to be pretty close. He's played that shot with a little bit of power and just about going to miss both of those reds. So he will be down to first 4 points to be given away over to Zhao Xington. And of course, not a single guarantee that those 4 are going to be the last ones that we're going to see in favour of Zhao Xington to be given away to him. So for now, still having a look to see on what's going to happen in relation to Barry Hawkins and Mark Allen, by the way, have managed to finish their respective sessions. It is now going to be down to 8 frames each. So, despite Hawkins having such a healthy lead, Allen in the end clearly reluctant to, leave anything available to him, as Murphy goes for exactly the same short selection, tries to make sure he's not going to be able to leave any more points at the table there, but at the same time, he leaves it down to 4 more points to be given away over to Zhao. Now then, 21 points is the lead, 43 at the table. Surely he can't go on forever like this, and he'll have to come to a point where, Zhao will have to step back to the table and put a couple of more reds. For now, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, although this is going to be very close. And once again, the same thing happened for 3 times in a row, where Murphy was really close, but at the same time, he wasn't really making the contact with those reds. And now it's going to be down to 25 points as the lead. And yeah, the referee's already managed to respot the cue ball and still haven't put the point over to Zhao. So this is now going to be 25 points of a lead once again over to you, Sean Murphy. And is he going to be closer to blue? This is going to be closer towards those reds. And at the end stage, he finally got there. He was 25 points later, but now at least he finds himself in a position where he can get back to his seat while still having a decent enough opportunity to try and take this one away. Did not watch the first session, but Zhao plays significantly better than the first session. Yes, true. But I would also say there's been a step up from Murphy's point as well. You have to give credit to both of the players because it's not just down to one of them being better than the other. It is down to this overall standard of play being a lot better in both of those sessions and in both of the players as well. The fact that we've got so many breaks of 60 plus there from Sean Murphy, and only 3 of those breaks of 60 plus to be made by Zhao, but he's the one that had 2 centuries very much under his belt. Probably tells you why he's got 174 more points than Sean Murphy, despite Murphy, of course, secondly having 1 more frame that he's managed to win. Although this may change if he's able to pop 2 of those reds there, because the problem with Zhao is that there's 3 issues at the table. There's the black, which right now probably Sean Murphy will need, as he now pushes the brown slightly closer towards the black ball cushion, which doesn't really help his case, because now he's got the yellow, he's got the brown out of position, and he's got the black to be under such a horrible position as well, whilst leaving the turn away. Back to Zhao, and ideally Zhao wants to try and make it as tight of a contact as he can, trying to make sure he doesn't bring that cue ball to be too close. The red too close to the left middle, so that he can try and potentially leave that one available for Sean Murphy. But he had 2 options out there. Try and set the cue ball very wide, or try and keep it very narrow of an angle that he was trying to send the white over to the top end side of the table. Well, now it probably seems like you're going to have to try and go for an easier solution there of a cross double into the left corner. Make sure that he doesn't get too close to a double kiss. Oh, he's actually gone for the red onto the right side rail as well, which was surprising. Has he left the red available here? Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be close. I feel like the red on the left-hand side of the table is just about going to be available, but Murphy clearly doesn't seem like he's going to be enjoying himself as he walks back to his seat. Both of those reds are going to be close to being available. I feel like the red to the right corner is going to be guaranteed to be available, but of course it's not quite as easy as it may look, and it's now going to be missed by Zhao, as he still brings that cue ball to be nicely positioned on the yellow in case of him making that red. As he misses it, he doesn't leave anything available for Sean Murphy. So nice shot selection there from Zhao. Once again, just making sure that he needs that frame, and he knows that he needs this frame away a lot more probably than Sean Murphy at the end point, because it's still very much down to Murphy to try and keep on that advantage and keep on scoring those very valuable points and frames. It's a smart shot selection by Murphy once again, but is he going to be able to try and get an extra bonus of try and getting behind the yellow? He was really, really close, but ultimately he has managed to bring the black into the open play, which will be a blow to Zhao chances, because before that I'd probably say it's going to be 70 to 30%. Now it's probably going to be back down to 60-40, just about in favour of Zhao, and trying to go for the top hand side here and making sure that he's going to try and use that green really nicely as the colour point. Great shot there by Zhao, especially if he's managed to cover up the left hand side as well as the red next to the centre of the table here, because that inevitably will force Sean Murphy to try and take it down to a bit of an uncomfortable shot there for him, and make sure that, well, he can't see that red, but what can he do with this red so that he doesn't leave it available for Zhao to be taken, because You know, right, you can see the red, but what can you actually do with this red available to your opponent so that, you know, when it is going to be his time to play his shot, it won't be as easy as it looks right now. Meanwhile, a couple of audience members seem like they're about to fall asleep out there. Come on, it's not that bad. It's not quite gone beyond the point of Neil Robertson and John Higgins, where they had to delay the whole session and didn't let the fans in until sort of 10 minutes past 7, where the match was supposed to start at that point. Yeah, it seemed like Murphy really got himself into a little bit of trouble here. It doesn't seem like he's got an easy decision to make. More than a minute taken on the shot, and still seems like it's going to have to take another minute there for him to figure out the way to try and get out of this situation here. So down to the cue ball. Try and take it towards the left-hand side here. What can he try and achieve with the contact point with those reds to be made? I mean, it's difficult to say about it, but is he going to try and force himself to take a shot with the black ball cushion first? Well, that's risky. He doesn't have too many points to give away. So what's he going to be here? Trying to get close to the pink. And he's going to give 4 points away here for Zhao. He's probably likely to ask Sean Murphy to try and play this shot back there, because he clearly got Murphy thinking. Because if that wasn't the case, of course, Murphy would not have played the shot in the manner that he has, having to try and hit that one on the bounce from the black ball cushion. He'll be down to 29 points of a lead. But it doesn't really matter until it reaches beyond the point of 43 points or more there for Zhao to have under his belt. Because right now, still, you know, the black is now no longer going to be in such a bad position as he was beforehand. So it just feels like whoever gets on the one of those two reds, yes, ideally you want to try and get on both of them. But at the same time, it's probably not going to be something that is easy for you to achieve in the world of snooker. And so we still try and get that cue ball sorting out to be done very, very quickly and hopefully effortless as well. So make that look by the referee. Why is Murphy not playing the red in front of the black? I feel like what can he do with it? I feel like what can he actually do with it? Because he can't play a cross double with it, because he's going to hit the brown or the other red on the bounce. So he's just trying to hit the other reds very thin on the edge, but he hasn't done it for the second time now. And this is where points are really going to start to come in play. 33 is the gap. Sean Murphy needs to hit this one, otherwise he's going to have to go for plan B. And plan B is going to be even more risky and even more of a problem than plan A that he seems to have been going for now. So once again, just having a look at the situation that he finds himself with, having to go for this red with a bit of a bounce out there. It won't be easy, but ultimately still leaves him with a chance to try and make this shot right. Fouls, you can see 18 there made by Murphy, 77 points that he's given away. Zhao only 3 of those, but of course 21 points. I mean, that is hilarious. 3 foul shots that he's had, and all 3 of them have been on the black. I mean, that is absolutely hilarious of a stat out there. But this is where he gets 50 extra points on top of Murphy, and of course now he's going to be through to 1,000 in just 7.5 frames that he manages to win. Of course, this one being a half, with him being a little bit closer towards the finish line in relation to Sean Murphy. And Murphy's going to have to go for a plan B, and this is why he didn't want to play that shot, because he was always going to get a double kiss of the brown. And now, it's not quite a frame ball, but this red is surely going to be a shot for the session, basically, because it will come down to 5-3 or 4-all. And in the end, it does seem like it is going to be slightly closer to being at 5-3 here in favour of Zhao Ziton. Does he take this red on? Surely he has to take this red on. I mean, I know the cue was going to be heading towards the black. He's having a smile about it. Having another look to see the cutoff point on the red to be taken towards the left corner. Can he try and make this one right? Because surely there will be no stopping him if he does make this red into the corner. I mean, the problem is, of course, if he does miss it, there's plenty of points at the table there for Murphy. Unless he manages to put the black safe with the same shot that he plays. Well, the longer that he takes, the more I feel like he'll go for a safety to be played after all that. He's queuing. Seems like he's trying to play this one on topspin, to be fair. He's tried to go for the reds. He made that one into the pocket. And this is Zhao Ziton, ladies and gentlemen. He is back. And he's going to be back in the third session as well. Because now he's perfectly lined up for the brown. and this is going to be the shot which potentially makes him to take another step towards breaking that mythical Phantom Crucible Curse. Ahead by 38 points right now, 35 points remaining. He will be down to just take one more red away, and then he will be 8 frames each. The ultimate showdown will have to go towards the third session, but you feel like way too many points have been given away by Murphy. He left himself in a position where he had to try and make sure he didn't give any more of those away. And now we'll be down to Zhao to try and make things right for himself. He will be 8 frames each as the final scoreline. And it will be a really nice break for him to try and finish this one off as well. Because, yeah, it's a really important break this for Zhao, but ultimately it was a very important red that he was able to take into the corner. And now he finds himself in a position of trying to go for the green, brown, blue, pink and the black. Try and finish off with a total clearance of 40 points exactly, which, by the way, I mean, when he stepped up to the table, I tell you what, you would have done really, really well for you to score somewhere near 40 points. And now, I said my prediction was 8 frames each. I certainly didn't think, you know, something like this was going to happen where it was such a tiptoe, such a seesaw, such a anyone's game for the taking. But in the end, nice little trick shot onto the yellow pocket to finish it off out there. And it will be down to Zhao and Sean Murphy to be giving us a showdown finale in the third session. Zhao finishes on a high with that black to be taken really, really well into the yellow pocket. We've seen that before in the World Grand Prix. And we all know what happened at that Grand Prix of Hong Kong. It was the point where it was very much down to Zhao to be winning the whole tournament. 8-all, anyone's game for tomorrow. Zhao must be so relieved. Absolutely. Charlie says hi. And Charlie says bye, potentially. Zhao against Sean Murphy, 1,044 points. As you can see on your screen, Zhao scored 822 for Sean Murphy. And the breaks of 60, 65, 69 and 90 have been the 4 highest breaks of Sean Murphy's campaign. For now, it is going to be the breaks of 58, 67, 117, 122, the gap and the breaks for Zhao 273 ball spotted, 244 for Murphy, and 90% pot success for Zhao 89 for Sean, and 44 long pot success of a percentage there from Zhao 63% for Sean Murphy. Safety success down at 71% for Zhao 67 for Sean Murphy. So it does seem like the two of the players have been a lot of a match for themselves. Let's see which one of the two of them will come out on top tomorrow. Feel free to tune in. It is going to be midway through the day, and don't miss that one. It is going to be a race to 5, a potential 9-frame showdown. But is it going to be Zhao through to another semi-final, or is it going to be number 6 for Sean Murphy and trying to make another bid for that title? It is going to be a cracker. Make sure you tune in. For now, thank you for everyone in the chat. Thanks for watching, and feel free to tune in to the channel. Hit the like on this stream and subscribe to it so you don't miss out any more of the action of the World Championship. The season is not far to be over, but we're about to get all the best snooker to be played from the best players in the world. Once again, thank you everyone, and see you all watching.